Good morning, everybody. Thank you guys all for coming. I want to apologize. We are having some technical difficulties. The screens, I know you could see there was videos being played, and unfortunately we've got no sound. But my man Alan, he's on it.
Yeah, are you available to convert
the best that he can. If we got to try a different laptop, Alan, we can. So I think what we're going to do is while we're working through the issues, and hopefully come up with a solution. We still have a lot of material, even if we don't get to the videos, but the videos are very important, and we're hoping we can figure something out, even if we have to maybe like just disconnect the laptop or play it from another one. But I think we're going to go ahead and begin with some of the introductions. Joan, do you want to come on out? And then we'll keep working through the issues. So thank you for your patience. Sorry we're running a little bit late, but thank you again for coming.
As a little bit taller than me. As Brian said, Captain Stutzman, I would imagine the majority of you here already know him. Raise your hand if you've heard Captain Stutzman speak before. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Did you hear the same jokes? Sorry.
I'm telling the jokes. So thank you to all of the organizations, the county agencies that showed up today. We appreciate you. Thank you for attending. But before we start with the PowerPoint, I'd like to introduce Rachel Mitchell. She is the county attorney. Rachel Mitchell is a career prosecutor with an unwavering commitment to finding justice for those safety and well-being have been violated. She leads one of the top 5 largest prosecutorial agencies in the country, I'm nervous. And since she took over in 2022, she has worked relentlessly to restore the trust of fellow law enforcement agencies and the community at large. During her 30 years with MCSO, she prosecuted the worst of the worst as a child and sex crimes prosecutor, ran the prosecution integrity unit, overseeing ethical issues, and was appointed county attorney in 2022. Voters then chose her for the permanent job later the same year. As Maricopa's chief law enforcement officer, she is a strong advocate for public safety, addressing emerging challenges like organized retail theft. Her proactive and an innovative approach to the issue highlights her ability to stay abreast of evolving criminal trends and is a testament to her commitment to upholding the law, prosecuting those who jeopardize the safety and security of the people of Maricopa County. Rachel has 2 pups who adore her and a fiance who does too. He adores her. Please welcome County Attorney Rachel Mitchell.
Can I pull this out? Yeah, I can, okay. I'm so short, you'll never see me if I'm standing behind here. So, well, good morning. Thanks for coming out, everybody. I want to start off by talking a little bit just about the Maricopa County Attorney's Office and what we do. I know sometimes a lot of people aren't familiar with the office, and that's good until you need us, and then it's important to know that we're here for you. So the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, like Joan said, is one of the largest prosecution agencies in the United States. Depending on how you count it, whether it's people or cases, we're about the 3rd or 4th largest in the United States. We have 1,000 people that work in the office. 350 of those people are prosecutors. And so we are the chief prosecutor within Maricopa County. AG wants to say she is, she's not, it's us. She can dream. But we handle everything from misdemeanors that happen in your area, unincorporated areas such as areas patrolled by the sheriff's office, up to first-degree murder, death penalty cases. And in that, we include white-collar crime, which includes fraud, identity theft, those types of offenses that affect so many people these days. And so it's really important that you came out here this morning. And let me just say this, don't let this be your last time. If there's another one of these next year, come next year, because I'll tell you, the technology is advancing so quickly, and the scam artists are using that technology to advance their scam scams, and it's so important just to stay on top of things. And I'll give you an example of something that happened to me not too long ago, just so you understand like how much this technology is advancing. So I go to Scottsdale Bible Church, and we had our associate pastor preaching one Sunday, and he said, oh, hey, Jamie Rasmussen, our senior pastor's not here today, but he called in, and I'm going to play his message. And he played a message. Now, this is a man who I hear pretty much every week. I know his voice, and it sounded exactly like him. Exactly. Until he started saying some things that I was like, that doesn't sound like something Jamie would say. It sounded like Jamie. It doesn't sound like anything he would say, though. And it turns out the whole thing was artificial intelligence, you know? And so what clued me into that was it just was off. It wouldn't be anything where I could say, no, the voice wasn't quite right. It was just off. And, you know, when I prosecuted sex crimes or child crimes, one of the things that I would tell people is, you know, they want some sort of magic, you know, test for what's good and, you know, who you can trust and who you can't. And honestly, one of the best things is to listen to your inside voice. And so that's true with scams as well. But you're going to hear a lot more detail about some of the current scams that are going on that we're seeing from Joan Campbell from my office and some of the other presenters. So, but again, don't think you can just check this off your list. You can check this off your list for this year, but you need to come back next year. And tell your friends, too, because these scams can be devastating to people. They can wipe out bank accounts. They can take months and even years to unravel if your identity is stolen. So it's very important to us that we can protect you. You know, the best crime, from my perspective, is the crime that never happens. You know, as a prosecutor, people think, oh, well, she's all about putting people in jail. No, I'm really about not having the crime happen in the first place. And so that's why we're here today, is to educate you and make sure that we can prevent you from becoming a victim. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the trends that we're seeing just crime-wise in Maricopa County. One of the things that we are seeing is we're seeing people come in from other states to commit crimes here. As though Arizona didn't have enough, we have to have people coming in a lot of times from California, sometimes from Nevada, sometimes from New Mexico and other states as well. And one of the things that they're engaged in is the organized retail crime, ORC, or ORT, organized retail theft. And so we're seeing a lot of that happen here, not to the degree that you're seeing in other states. How many of you have seen those horrible pictures of Los Angeles and San Francisco and all those other places where they just run in and just grab a bunch of stuff and leave? Yeah. Well, you know, I grew up here. I was born in Phoenix. I went to school here, went to Grand Canyon University for my undergrad, went to ASU Law School, and I don't want my hometown, and this is part of my hometown, it's Maricopa County, I don't want my hometown becoming like Los Angeles and San Francisco. So my pledge to you is this: you have prosecutors, and I don't even like to call them prosecutors, they're really not prosecutors, but you have people pretending to be prosecutors over in Los Angeles, like George Gascon, who is standing up on the news and saying things like, I'm not going to prosecute theft under $1,000. Gee, wonder what's going to happen. Right? And we've even had reports of people going in with calculators to make sure they don't bump up against that $1,000. They're not dumb. He is, but they're not. And so they're hitting these places for up to, well, we'll say $999. We have not said that here. We're going to prosecute crime here. And, you know, it is under $1,000 here in Arizona is by law a misdemeanor. But what we're seeing is people coming in and they're hitting, it's not a one-off, they're hitting store after store after store. Let me give you an example. Just recently, we indicted 2 women who had taken a day trip here from California. And one of them we indicted for 12 counts, which means 12 different locations where she hit. And with the other woman, we indicted for 10 counts. And they were together for most of the events. In one day, they targeted stores in 6 different cities in Maricopa County. So that's how prolific this is. We recently sentenced an individual to prison who had committed so many counts that his restitution added up to $18,000. And if I named you the retailers that they hit, you'd recognize them because you shop there. And it's driving prices up a lot in our county. One Ulta makeup, right? One Ulta in our county suffered $750,000 worth of loss in 1 year. So guys, stop complaining to your wives about the cost of makeup. It's not their fault. It's the criminals. And we're here to stop that. So it's very important to my office because we know these are not people that are walking in to steal bread. They're not walking in to sustain themselves. They're walking in and they're grabbing a lot of one item, high-end items, high resale value items, and they're taking them to fences and they're reselling them. That's why you see detergent locked up. That's why you see baby formula, diapers, things like that, that are locked up or are in some of the stores, because they're reselling those. So we are committed. We put together an organized retail crime task force so that we could not just hit somebody with a misdemeanor for what they did in Peoria and a misdemeanor for what they did in Avondale, but we could add all of that damage up into the felonies that it really is, and to send these individuals to prison, and also to send a message, stay in California. This is not the place you want to be to commit organized retail crime. So we're going to have, actually I'm going to have a press conference later today talking about that with some of the retailers associations, representatives from across our valley, because it's just that important. And what it does when businesses can't sustain those types of losses, they close. And when they close, you have an empty building, so there's no tax revenue from that building. There are no jobs to go to in that building. There are no goods and services in that building. And it oftentimes hits the poorer parts of town first. And so those individuals who rely on public transportation to go get their prescription now have to go further, and for baby formula and those types of things. So it can be devastating to a community. So we are working very hard. Yesterday, Home Depot actually came in, didn't even tell us they were going to do this. They came in and they gave the lead attorney in the organized retail crime task force in my office an award to thank him for his efforts in combating retail crime. So we are working hard to make sure that that doesn't happen, or to hold the people accountable. Another thing we're doing to hold people accountable is, regardless of the type of offense that they're committing, is we are seeking appropriate amounts of bail. For too long, there was a trend in Maricopa County, frankly Arizona, to lower the bond or bail amount so that people could be out pending trial. Well, what happens when you do that is you're letting them back out onto the streets. And we know that the police are short-staffed, right? Because of all the things that have happened in our country over the last several years.
CBS Mornings.
Sorry about that. That's no problem. So they're short-staffed. And so, police are booking people and they're going home and they're coming back the next day, and there's the person out on the street, the same place, doing the same thing. And it's, first of all, it's demoralizing, but secondly, it's allowing people to be out committing new offenses. Let me give you an example. One of the people from California who came over to commit retail thefts here was allowed to go back to California pending the case being resolved here in the sentencing. Guess how many crimes were committed in California? At least not here, but California. 29 additional crimes. Okay, so letting people out that are prolific criminals is not the answer. So what we are doing is we're staffing the initial appearance court 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even on Christmas, and we are asking for appropriate bonds, because we cannot allow these individuals to keep perpetrating their crimes against our community, because they're not just getting rich. They're not just doing this for greed purposes. They are funding additional criminal behavior with this organized retail crime. So it's very important to us that we keep those individuals in, as well as violent crime, people who commit violent crime. So, for example, we did not see cash bail for a very long time in this county. We would see something called secured appearance bonds. Well, secured appearance bonds means if I set a $100,000 secured appearance bond, you have to post 10%, so it's really $10,000. So it sounds good, but it's really not that much. So we've been asking for cash-only bonds in appropriate cases. Cash only means $100,000. And we are seeing cash-only bonds for the first time in several years now for people who are committing violent crimes against other individuals. So those are some of the things that we're working on. We're also working on gun crime. We have a policy, if you use a gun in an armed robbery or an aggravated assault, you're going to go to prison. We're also working with our federal congressional delegation, because if you had to guess, do you think California keeps good records of felony convictions or not? Now, this doesn't look like a terribly cynical crowd, but am I wrong about that? Yeah. And so these people come over, and I'm trying to prove that they have priors, and the records are inadequate to prove that this person sitting here in court is this person that's documented to have this felony conviction. And so that makes it hard for me to prove that they shouldn't have a gun, that they're a prohibited possessor. It makes it harder for me to prove that they have prior convictions so that they should get a more harsh sentence. And so we've gone to the congressional delegation and asked them to run federal legislation that sets minimum standards for felonies, the records that have to be kept. In Arizona, when you're sentenced, they walk you right over to the bailiff and they roll your fingerprint, and it is part of the sentencing record. But that's not true in every state. So we're working with some of the Congress people to make sure that that can happen in other states, so that when they come here, we can adequately prove what their priors are. So those are just some of the things that we're doing to keep you safe. But again, thank you for coming. Please did you have a question? So the question is, if you have a gun and somebody comes into your home and you use it, are you going to go to prison? Here's what the law says. The law says that you can use or threaten to use deadly physical force when you feel like your life or the life of somebody else, like your family member, is in danger. So no, you're not prohibited from protecting yourself, your life. You can't use it to stop somebody from stealing from a store. You can't shoot them in the back as they go out with the goods, okay? But if you're in fear for your life or the life of others, you can use it. Does that answer your question? So say, it's a little hard to hear.
If you use it to protect yourself and you shoot, but you don't need to kill that person, then you go to prison.
So the question is, if you shoot but don't mean to kill, but you do kill them, will you go to prison? The issue is you shouldn't be shooting unless you have a legal right to use that gun. You have a legal right to use the gun to protect your life or the lives of others. So once you have the right to use that gun, then that's a defense to whatever happens. I'm sorry?
So you don't go to prison then?
Wow, I have a feeling something bad's going to go down out here. What are y'all planning? I mean, I'm going to have to put some of my attorneys on overtime here. this is the law. In Arizona, if you are protecting yourself or the life of somebody else, you have a right to protect it using or threatening to use deadly force. So yeah, that's a defense. That means you can't be successfully prosecuted for that. Sir?
Tammy?
I've heard it called the castle doctrine, but it's true not just in your home, it's anywhere that you feel your life is threatened, so, yeah.
So, when I was growing up, we understood that. When I was young, I understood that, we were taught that if you shot somebody who entered in your home and was threatening you, that if they were outside, just to drag them back inside. So, does that still stand?
No, I would, that's called staging a scene, and I would recommend against that. And the cops will probably figure out you did that, the drag marks into the, yeah. What's important here is this. I know Arizona, we like our guns, and I'm no exception to that. If you have a gun, get training on it, please. Invest the time to go get, they have like really good 16-hour courses where you can learn the law, you can learn the proper and safe operation of the gun. What you don't want is to kill somebody on accident. And another thing that I would say is lock your gun up. Do not leave your gun in the car. Do not leave your gun in the purse in the car, because we get so many teenagers in particular going around breaking the windows of cars, stealing things out of it, and that's one of the ways that teenagers are getting guns. So, educate yourself on how to use the gun, what the law allows, and then practice safety with that gun. But yes, the law does allow you to defend your life, and that includes deadly force.
Ma'am.
And don't stage a scene, yeah.
County Attorney Mitchell, if I may, we actually have a training class that I can present to everybody on security, legal rights of use of force. Obviously, I don't want to we're going to do a question and answering at the end. I mean, if the county attorney wants to keep answering questions, that's on her. But I have a training course that we can put on. If you guys are interested, we'll have a sign-up sheet, and then we can take care of all that. Bottom line, we've got an entire training for that. So if you're interested, go to the sheriff's office desk, and we can sign you up for all that, and we'll get that scheduled for you as soon as possible, okay?
All right. Gee, I came out here expecting to talk to you about fraud and identity theft and retail theft, and you're just wanting to shoot people and drag their bodies in their house. You guys are spicy. I like it. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. This is one of the steps you can take to keep our community safe. Have a great day learning, and remember, we are here for you. Our job is to keep this community safe and have a good quality of life.
Thank you. You want to take care of your chief? There you go.
Thank you, County Attorney Rachel Mitchell. I appreciate you coming out. Next, I would like to introduce our Chief Deputy with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. His name is Russ Skinner. Russ Skinner is currently the Chief Deputy, overseeing all operations of the agency, and is a second-generation employee who started his career as a deputy sheriff with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office in 1990, following in his father's footsteps while I was in high school as a senior. I don't know why that's on here. That's odd. Okay. He has worked several capacities throughout the office, serving the community and the agency in various roles of patrol, investigations, community education, volunteer programs, and implementation and compliance efforts. Chief Skinner has been characterized as an active and effective law enforcement professional. And I want to add to that personally, just from all the years of working for him, is also very engaged with the office and his roles and responsibilities. As a deputy, he was deeply committed to building community relations, working in the DARE program, Block Watch, but we can't say that, it's now Neighborhood Watch. There's like copyrights and stuff in there. And MCSO sponsored public safety and educational programs. He was also a dedicated detective and supervisor by serving investigative roles in district investigations, narcotics, financial and computer crimes. So he's an expert in what we're talking about today. And made it a priority to build relationships with prosecutors, outside agencies, as well as the public. Under Sheriff Pinzone, Chief Skinner has held executive leadership roles over enforcement operations, the Compliance Bureau, and as the Chief Deputy responsible for administrative and operational oversight of the enforcement and custody bureaus. Chief Skinner is honored to be here today and to be a part of the 2013 Safety and Fraud Summit for the West Valley communities. Chief Skinner, come on up. Doesn't go any lower. You want on the mic here?
Start off. Good morning, everyone. Now, come on, better. Good morning. All right, there's the blood, vim and vigor going on. Welcome to the 2023 Safety and Fraud Summit. Obviously, this is a topic that's talked about nationally. Never thought we'd think much about fraud. Back in the day was a very different vision of that. With the advent and the obvious movement of electronic devices, technology moving at the speed of light, it is ever evolving as kind of one of the number one ways to victimize the community. So we've had to, as law enforcement, obviously we've had to increase a lot of our efforts in how we combat that, but part of that is getting the community involved in education, because as Rachel Mitchell, the county attorney, stated, technology evolves faster than sometimes as we're delivering information out or we have equipment to start dealing with this, the next generation of technology is coming out, and we have to stay ahead of that. But I wanted to start off by addressing all of our part-time residents out there in the community, because I'm envious that you were able to escape a very brutally long, hot summer that we all had to endure. So I'm glad that you all made it back safely, back to this ever-growing valley. And those of you that were full-time residents, I just wanted to thank you for your patience with Maricopa County dealing with a Super Bowl, 2 NASCAR championships, and a home run of the World Series in this ever-growing and busy Maricopa County, let alone the traffic congestion that we continue to experience. But through it all, our public safety mission is to stand with you and ensure a safe and secure environment. You leave town, you come back after a few months, and man, there's new building going on, there's more population, there's more traffic congestion. So I know that kind of just comes into play. Again, as the county attorney stated, is there's a lot more people coming to this valley and impacting us, some in good ways, but some are those bad actors looking to victimize, looking for other opportunities out there. But I wanted to thank you for the opportunity that's provided by the Sun City community to host the Maricopa County attorney and I as part of this event, as well as our continued partnership in expanding public safety and awareness. It is great to see the collaboration with the West Valley agencies, not just the sheriff's office, the other law enforcement entities that are out here, the vendors that are out here, and the community members attending today and participating in this year's event, because we cannot do this alone. We need everybody to be involved, engaged, and intermeshed with trying to combat this, getting us the information. A lot of times victims will be victimized, but then they don't bring it to our attention. And I hate to say it, that bad actor out there, that criminal, we'll move on to more. And then it continues on. If you see something, or if you feel something's not right, or you get something that's an email that's very suspicious, don't open it, don't click it, get a hold of us. The quicker we can get a hold of that, the faster it is that we can stop it. But as our community continues to evolve and grow, so must the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Sheriff's Office, and then I'll get a little bit more into the technology side of things. A few things that have happened over the past year: we've enhanced agency resources to align with community needs and quality of service. We reorganized our investigative staff members with divisions specializing in categorical criminal activity while providing them additional equipment and training relative to their field of investigations. And where you see this, we do have a computer crime investigative division component under our major crimes division that oversees just really technology and everything from cell phones to, if they're used in a crime or a piece of evidence in a crime, to the actual computers. And this strategy has helped provide a higher level of quality in their process and helps yield an improved partnership with the prosecutorial agency in charging these crimes and bringing justice to those who fall victim. As the county attorney was up here, she's one of our main prosecutors for most of our crimes. Obviously, we deal with some municipal levels in some of our contract areas, and then sometimes the AG, depending on the circumstances of the type of crime. But pretty much the county attorney's office is really our second half of any of the investigations we have. They're the ones that follow through and actually charge those criminals. And this has helped build that bridge of communication to have successful prosecution. One of the other ones we've reorganized is our community outreach and enforcement support divisions, and that's to provide a unified approach in supporting the community with public safety education, programs, events, and traffic safety resources. With the increase in the population and the sprawl of commercial buildings and residential housing, traffic has significantly increased countywide, as you all know it when you get on the roads. Probably one of the most frustrating things to do these days. I just drove across town from Gilbert over to here, and I'll tell you, it took me over an hour and 20 minutes. And mind you, I'm in a, semi-marked patrol car, but they don't care who I am. They still go by me at 90 miles an hour, right? But it's the reality. And defensive driving, we all talk about that. We really have to be on our safeguards because people are out there with a motorized vehicle doing speeds that are obviously impacting, and some of them under the influence. So that has exponentially grown, we've seen, as a risk out here on our highways and our streets. But this has contributed to that increase in the vehicle-related collisions and fatalities that we're seeing. And to address this need, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, through partnerships with the Arizona Governors of Highway Safety, have developed a new traffic safety unit under the Enforcement Support Division. We have 5 police motorcycles, so yes, you're going to start seeing some of those. You hate to see them when they got that radar gun up and maybe you're a little over, but this is to protect our communities. We're going to start off with more of a educational effort and then an enforcement effort on it. But we'll have 5 police motorcycles, Sheriff's Office motorcycles, that will be used regionally in hot spots. We're using analytics to look at those traffic collisions, to look at those calls for service when you say you have speeders in your neighborhood. And I know Sun City West have a lot of issues with that because you have contractors coming in, you have people driving through your communities. We get a lot of that. I'm sure Captain Stutzman, that's one of his probably highest calls for issues in his area. So we're going to look at trying to combat that by deploying these in certain regional areas. And then we also have 2 Ghost Mark Mustangs. So you might see a nice white Mustang GT 5.0. Look real closely at it because it's got very, very faint graphics that say Sheriff's Office on it. So if you do get pulled over by one of those, yeah, those guys are out there to do traffic enforcement. So that's the good thing. We're actually bolstering historically the Sheriff's Office. Really never had the resources to have a dedicated traffic unit like a lot of municipal agencies do. We're hoping to take this effort to the next step and hopefully, as staffing allows, continue to build that. But they will also ensure progressive law enforcement and public safety procedures are applied to meet not only your needs, but your expectations within your communities. And so as we move into today's topics of the summit, I don't want to steal Captain Stutzman's thunder prior to his presentation. However, I do want to point out that in general, crime is relatively down, especially in the West Valley communities that we serve. But one area that has not and continues to hit the community hard is fraud and identity theft. And they will get into a little more of the details on that. But it's also the identity theft related crimes are the ones that kind of hit us hard because then you're left chasing down, credit reports and your banks, your financial institutions. There's a lot of work that goes into that on your side and on law enforcement side. So it is rather frustrating. We want to try to help prevent that for you. And although technology has become an essential part of our daily lives, it's also provided this evolving gateway for bad actors to victimize the community at an alarming rate. And I hope that today's event will provide you with some additional tools and awareness that you can apply to guard and protect yourself and members of your family from falling victims to these crimes. And again, like it was said, please keep coming to these type of events because things change, things evolve. Gives us an opportunity to interact with you, provide you something, but there may be something new on the horizon that hasn't hit our awareness yet. So continue to do that. And again, make sure that when you get those emails, they may look so legitimate, but pick up the phone and call your financial institutions directly. Is this legitimate? Don't click on anything. Those are the type of things that, really start going down the rabbit hole when it comes time to, once you do, a lot of times you'll get malware in your computer. It then takes over other accounts, other email problems that you'll have. Working in computer crimes, I started in computer crimes back in 1999, I believe it was, 2000-ish. And it was very different then. I mean, it was very basic. We talked about, and I think you'll hear a victim from NW3C that's here, which is the National White Collar Crime, or IC3. A lot of things were getting done at the federal level, but they weren't really investigating them. They would have a clearinghouse of complaints. In the sheriff's office back then, when I was, at the time, a new sergeant, we decided to partner with them because they didn't have a lot of local agencies following up. And they wouldn't even look at them, especially if they were under $1,500. Oh, well, it's federal government. We don't have time to deal with these things. So, but we realized it was our community needs to be able to pick up and actually investigate these crimes because, again, if somebody's been victimized once, this person still, and they're successful, they're going to continue on and victimize other people. The technology's made it where you're not walking in and being described and trying to steal something. You're behind a keyboard, sometimes somewhere in the U.S., sometimes overseas, which also makes it challenging. So we're going to do what we can to safeguard you because these are very complex and high-level crimes sometimes, and we have a hard time being able to chase those down. So some of the challenges with that, what we need you to do is always preserve evidence. If there is something where you feel that you've been part of a crime, we want you to preserve that information. You print out a copy, whatever the case, don't click on anything, but make sure that you don't disturb the hard drive, or if there's any documented material that you printed out, hold on to those things, because that's things that we'll collect to help us look through that navigational trail to hopefully catch them. Some of the other challenges, too, is just, again, the evolving technology. It's not just the computer anymore. It's your cell phone. It's your car has electronics in it. I mean, we see all kinds of things that we have to address. And, again, we're really talking about fraud and identity theft here, but all crimes that really are committed these days, there typically is some type of an electronic component in it. And we have forensic specialists that actually deal with that. Your car, for example, collects a lot of data in it. Anything from a vehicular crash, we may, if it's a serious enough one, grab that information. If we wind up needing information of a missing person, a lot of times with the OnStar technology and some of the other technology out there that's tracking it, we will grab that to hopefully locate where the vehicle is that hopefully will lead to where that person is. And, ultimately, if we have one that unfortunately ends in a homicide or another situation, that gets entered into evidence. So those are some things just to think about. We are in the electronic era. Again, as he said, he was probably back in high school when I started with the sheriff's office. I'm not a technology whiz by any means. Luckily, the sheriff's office gave me a lot of training. But I will tell you, being out of the game, not really overseeing that, it has evolved so much that I couldn't step back in and think about the technology or how to process it. So I know that Captain Stutzman has a good presentation to give, and I certainly don't want to jump into his realm of things, but I do want to talk about two other things before I kind of wrap up here, and that's a recruiting plug. I got to do it anytime I have an opportunity. The sheriff's office is very stable right now, but I will tell you with vacancies, we're here to help support the community, but in order for us to continue to do that, we need staff to keep entering the door in all our detention facets and all our deputy facets, and especially even our civilian dispatchers. We're looking for all positions, so family members out there that friends out there there that you know, people you come in contact with, have them think about a career in public safety, because we are, you think about it. When I retire, I'm thinking, well, who's going to serve my community if there's not enough officers on the street, right? So as a community members, we need to do our best to help support that and move that forward. The other thing, the second prong of that is volunteers. I want to thank all the volunteers in the audience stand up for me for a second? Let's give them a round of applause. Couldn't do it without the volunteers. I tell you what, I very early on worked a lot with a posse, especially in search and rescue and some of the areas I worked in enforcement support. I thank you all because you do it for free. You come out here and you're willing to serve your community. Another area you can get involved with as community members is different ways of volunteering. And again, I applaud all those and I appreciate, and we also need to think about the next generation of volunteers, just like we need to think about the next generation of public servants. We're all family with it, and really we have the same mission. It's to serve your community, provide a safe, effective area, and have eyes on, so hopefully that we keep it a safer area for all of you. So I did want to think about that. And just a few things for the future of the organization as we continue on. Obviously, technology has really impacted the sheriff's office and public safety. We all have body cameras now. When we first got them, our staff wasn't real happy about that. They're like, oh my gosh. But you know what? It's turned out to be a really good thing from an evidentiary standpoint. If they get a complaint, a lot of times we can see their viewpoint of it, officer safety. And so it's kind of been an integral part. Rachel Mitchell talked a lot about AI. AI is a very, very kind of scary thing, but it's also a very, very good thing in some respects. We're going to see artificial intelligence start to be probably part of law enforcement at some point, and I don't say it where we're going to be doing bad actor type stuff with it. It's going to help us with identification of personnel. It helps us in our jail systems with medical status on inmates. There's a lot of different things, and it's moving at the speed of light. On the other side of that, I side with Rachel Mitchell on it's a very scary thing, because you may get phone calls that it sounds like your grandchild, your sibling. There's things that it's moving at the speed of light, and we need to make sure we put regulations on it. So we'll continue to combat those. And then analytics. Again, being a cop back in 1990, there wasn't a whole lot about crime-driven stats or analytical data. Today, I tell you, that's really driving the mission for a lot of us. We're actually getting a new RMS system, but some of the material that Captain Stutzman will be going over, the analytics relative to your area of crime trends, it helps us help you and serve you and know where to put those resources. We are committed to progressing those analytics, having personnel continue to foster that to help drive where our resources need to go, especially when you're in a time where you're kind of limited on that. I'm going to wrap up, and again, as Captain Stutzman said, we'll answer some questions later. I'm going to stick around for a little while, so if there's something that I personally can answer for you, I'm happy to do so. But I do want to thank you all, because this means a lot to us, to have the community involved. Community engagement's the number one thing for preventative law enforcement. It is the best thing that we can do is help educate, and you help educate us. So I appreciate your commitment and taking your morning. I know it's 9, 10 o'clock. My stomach's getting a little hungry too, so I'm going to move things along, but I do thank you all for being part of this, and look forward to continuing to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, first of all, I owe Joan Campbell an apology, because I heard the "I told you so" this morning from her, so that's never a good thing. So we did have some technological issues, and we're late getting started, so things kind of got a little off kilter. But first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Brian Stutzman. I'm the division commander for the District 3 area, which is Northern Avenue, north to the county line, I-17 west to the county line. So I've got a big area, 1,631 square miles. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you all for coming. I want to acknowledge a few more people. My boss's boss, Chief Barry Rosca, Executive Chief Barry Rosca, he's in the back there, big, tall, handsome man back there. Thank you for coming. And then I've got Deputy Chief, I'll think of his name, Phil Doherty. He's my boss. Listen, I am not the smartest man in the room, so don't accuse me of anything when I mess up, okay? Again, thanks to the county attorney for coming. We obviously have a lot of vendors here. I want to kind of go through them. I don't have them on this list, so let me come over here. So we got the County Attorney's Office, we have the Department of Emergency Management, the Arizona Anti-Trafficking Network, the SHOA, HOA, we got Sun City Posse, we have Sun City West Sheriff's Posse here, that's the folks in the back that we acknowledged earlier. We've got Area Agency and Aging, is AmTrust Bank here? Shelley, hi Shelley, thank you. And then we've got the Sun City Fire, and there in the back, Chief Rob Schmidt, he's my best friend. He doesn't know that, he just found that out. And then we've got, is the Arizona Fire Medical Authority here? Oh, yeah, there we go, we see him, there you go, thank you guys. The Flood Control District with Maricopa County, hello, thank you guys. AAA, AARP, and Chase Bank. They're here, correct? I just saw them set up. Sorry I didn't get to talk to you before the event. And then the Sun City West Independent newspaper. Jennifer, there she is in the back, or that's not Jennifer. Where'd Jennifer go? Oh. And Jennifer, again, if you're taking pictures of me, catch me in a good pose. If my mouth is open or don't print that, please. The county recorder's office, they didn't make it, did they? Oh, they're here, okay. And the library, Wells Fargo is here. Library, where's the library? Thank you, guys. So also Jackie, is that right, correct, Jackie? Okay, thank you. From Global Credit Union up front here. She actually came out on her own accord. She saw the event. So that's being, again, proactive, getting involved in the community, and that's what we're all about. So thank you for coming. Blake, yes. Oh, I thought we did. Oh, sorry, Blake from Wells Fargo. Where'd you go, Blake? Okay, there he is in the back, Wells Fargo. He kind of is incognito today. He didn't set up a booth, but he will next time. So I've got a lot of my staff here. Where's Lieutenant Rankin? He's in the back. We've got my patrol deputy, Sergeant Aldo Felix. A lot of my patrol guys, Jonathan Sanchez, he's my legal liaison deputy. He's amazing, and you guys will be working with him in the future with Neighborhood Watch, and he's the one that is going to be your resource on a lot of things. Also, I got the fraud unit from the Maricopa County Major crimes, is it general crimes? Okay, general crimes, not quite major, but general. Sergeant Lance Hunsinger, he took an active part in this whole process, but the biggest folks I want to thank is Joan Campbell and DSA Jesse Brizendine. So I'm just going to be real quick before we start going into Joan, because again, she's still mad at me. Jesse has done so much work this presentation, not only this, but he's took it upon himself to get actively involved in fraud. He's got over 30 years experience in 34. Oh, sorry. Oh. Back before high school, sorry. What agency were you with then?
I was with University of Kansas.
University of Kansas. So he has gone above and beyond. That's not his role as a deputy service aide, but he's taken this to another level. Don Keener, where are you at? Okay, Don Keener, stand up. He's my intel analyst, and I'm just going to say this would not have happened as quickly as it did. It still would have happened, I'm pretty confident. But literally back in March, he calls me and says, hey, we've seen a huge increase in fraud, con games, scams, identity theft, and literally we immediately started tracking, and this whole thing, when we get into it, is from January 1 to September 30th. He pulled every single report, and we started tracking to see what the issues are. So kind of what Chief Skinner had said, we've got technology, we've got people utilizing technology to keep me apprised of what's going on in my district, trends and that kind of stuff. So that's what put us here today. And I honestly don't remember how we got to this point, because literally 4 months ago, Joan and we've been co-teaching, and she's going to talk a little bit about that, or co-presenting. And ultimately, I don't know how, but we just literally got to this point where we are today. So I don't take any credit. I give credit to both these folks. So Joan, did I forget anything? I did. Of course I did. See, I told you so.
Yeah, we get along great. No, I did want to mention something, especially with your supervisors here. This guy is a celebrity. Everywhere I go, they know him. Every time I open up the Independent, there's a photograph of him. I started a scrapbook for him. And it's just because he is a big deal, because all of you know him. He has a full-time job. He's the captain over a huge area and has employees to supervise and a job. But I've never met anyone so compassionate for victims as Captain Stutzman. That's why he wants to do these, because education maybe will prevent you from being a victim. So I just want to say I'm really happy with our partnership, and we do have a lot of fun. We tease each other. And I have to interrupt. I have a joke. He told me I couldn't tell a joke because my jokes are better than his. So I've got the mic.
For once.
Ha ha ha. All right. Guy goes into a grocery store and he steals a can of peaches. Now he's before the judge. And the judge says to the man, "How many peaches were in that can?" The guy says 6. Judge says, "I'm sentencing you to jail for 6 days, 1 for each one of those peaches." All of a sudden, a lady in the back of the courtroom jumps up and she says, Your Honor, I'm the defendant's wife. He also stole the can of peas." All right, you could have the floor now.
Yeah, I've never got a laugh that big. Okay, also, I want to thank the RCSC for allowing us to be here and utilize their facility. We were literally, we've advertised this for, I want to say, over 4 months. We were really hoping to get more people here, but I know it's getting closer to the holidays. But so my biggest frustration is that we don't get enough of this information out, and we're going to start getting started on that here shortly. But I just want to say one thing. Not only is your division commander, you're ultimately your police chief of Sun City West, all the West Valley communities. I have a heart and a passion, and I will agree the one thing that Joan said was that I truly do care. This community, all these communities mean a lot to me, especially Sun City. I mean, my parents live here. Mom, I know you're going to hate me for this. My mom, Mary Stutzman, is here. Stand up. Okay, she's not going to stand up. Mom, if you're going to throw tomatoes at me, take them out of the can, please. But yeah, thank you. So again, I have a lot to give to this community because I have ownership in this community. And so when we started seeing these trends and things coming up, like, we really have to get started on it, and we don't take any time messing around. So we immediately brought in the resources with the fraud investigation unit, and we started working on it together, Jesse. So at that point, did I forget anything else? Okay, so I'm gonna turn it over to Jesse. He's gonna, well, actually, no, you're not. Okay, can we go ahead and put the PowerPoint up? Oh, yeah, no kidding. I'm gonna have to do it right here. So yeah, we don't have a computer really, or a screen up here for us to use, so we're gonna kind of all be hiding behind this desk. So again, going back to this whole presentation and the purpose of this presentation is, again, it's about the victims. What are we trying to accomplish? We're trying to educate. We're trying to get the word out. These scammers are good. They know what they're doing. They do this 24/7. This is all they do. And somebody prior to the event said, and they're working from home too, I'm sure. So with VPNs and all the stuff that the technology that they're utilizing, we ultimately are going to share some of that to educate you. Again, we're not here, we're going to share these cases with you, but we are going to ultimately just kind of do this whole disclaimer that if I mention a case that, let's say, you're the victim in, please don't bring it to anybody's attention. This isn't to call anybody out. This isn't to victim shame. This is not to belittle anybody. It's not to make fun, but I don't know if you could already see we're pretty funny people up here, and we like to entertain, and I want to make this enjoyable for you and not just sit here and read things. So we want to bring to light the seriousness of the issues so that we can prevent this. But I'll also say that we are very clear, can you go to the next one? That we are very clear that, again, this is about you guys. This is about the victims. This is not about us in any way other than the fact that we have also been victims. Can you switch it? Oh, where's the clicker?
I got it.
Can you hit it, the button? Now, go now. Ready? Do it.
Ready for there?
Go now, yeah.
Okay.
And now,
Read.
go.
You just read that.
Okay. So obviously, what is fraud? Fraud is criminal deception with the intent, a result of financial personal gain. So everyone knows that, fraud occurs. Actually, can I see? Let me ask, before I get started on that, how many of you are actually from Arizona? Born and raised? That's the second time I've heard that. That's funny. From Arizona as in, were you born and raised here? Yes. Okay, how many are not from Arizona? Show of hands. Good grief. Wow, that's impressive. Okay. I didn't expect that many. Let me go back to how many are born and raised in Arizona? 3? That's okay. Well, I was, and I cannot find this piece of paper. How many are not from Sun City here, like don't live here currently? Okay, so Sun City West, Surprise, Peoria. Okay, so we have some people, that's what the goal of this was. This is not just a plague that's hitting Sun City. And again, this wasn't just a Sun City event. This is for the entire West Valley agencies. So what we're trying to look at is all of the cases that we pulled up. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and let you discuss all the stuff that we identified out of the 9 months that we did this, and I'm going to get my thoughts on something else. Go ahead.
Sounds
Again,
good.
Jesse.
Good afternoon. My name is Jess Brizendine, and I am a deputy service aide, and I am a resident of Sun City West. So when you hear me say us, I'm referring to us because I am a citizen of Sun City West as well. And when I got the opportunity to come down here and be involved in District 3, it meant a lot to me. And I started seeing this problem with all these different frauds coming up, and I talked to Stutzman about it, Captain Stutzman, and so we wanted to address this. So he put me in charge of this PowerPoint program, and hopefully you'll learn something from it. These are just a tip of the iceberg of some of the things that we see. If you look every day, you'll probably see more and more and more. It's kind of like the iceberg effect. What you see on top of the water is not what's actually below. These are the things we've identified on the PowerPoint. Every day, every minute, there's probably been, while I've been talking today, there's probably been half a dozen more scams pop up. So what we're going to talk about today is the pop-up scams, the prize winners, the Amazon scams, the government agency scams, title fraud, which is something that's going to be new to us, technology scam, grandparent scam. I don't think there's any grandparents in here, is there? Pet scams.
Went up, that's awesome.
And romance scams.
So let me ask you this, Jesse. How many have been a victim of a fraud or a scam? Who's been victim here? And again, you don't have to raise your hand if you don't want to. I know that I personally have. The last one he said was romance scams. I've been a victim of 3 romance scams. Oh no, those are divorces. Never mind. So Jesse, again, this is not victim shaming, but I'm going to tell you right now that Jesse has a great story about how it's called the Amazon scam, and he got 3 pallets. Did you actually were they come on wooden pallets?
Came 3 pallets. Yep. Pallets. It popped up on, and this was last year. And the funny thing about this, I didn't tell my wife about this. Here I am giving presentations about scams, and this thing showed up and says, hey, you could get a pallet of stuff from Amazon for like $69 delivered to your house, or you can get 2 for $89 or 3 for $99. So I said, okay, we'll see what this is about. So I go online, give them my information. They take the money out through PayPal. My son comes down to visit, and I kind of tell him, I said, hey, Cameron, I've got 3 pallets of stuff coming to the house today. And it's like, okay, what is it? I have no idea. It's just 3 pallets of stuff. So we go on a trip up to Sedona, and I get an alert that says my pallets have been delivered to my front door. It's like, uh-oh, this is not good. So I turned to my son, I said, hey, the pallets just arrived at the front door. My wife goes, what are you guys talking about? I said, well, I bought 3 pallets of stuff. He goes, and where are we going to put 3 pallets of stuff? I said, I don't know, but we're going to find out when I get home. So I get home, and I knew this wasn't good. The pallets weren't in front of the garage. They were in front of my door. One pallet was a water flosser, one pallet was a set of headphones, and one pallet was electronic toothbrush. That was the 3 pallets that I paid big bucks for. So I came back, I told Captain Stutzman, I said, hey, I got to stitch myself out. Here I am giving presentations on how not to be a victim of a scam. So I'm going to use this as part of the presentation to say everybody can be scammed. Isn't that right, Captain?
As a matter of fact, yeah. So I come home late one night after a long day, and my phone rings probably about 8 o'clock in the evening, and it says, this is your bank calling, and we have detected fraudulent activity on your credit card. Please enter your credit card number so we can confirm. So when I entered the card number, and then they asked for the expiration date. That was the moment I knew I messed up. So I hang up, immediately call the number on the back of my card, which is the legitimate one. And I finally got to a lady, and I go, cancel my card. Just cancel the card. She's like, well, hang on, I need to get. I go, cancel the card, cancel the card. Like, the number's already out there. It is in cyberspace. Like, just cancel the card. We will talk later. So ultimately, I was not scammed, but it goes back to what we're saying is we are inherently trusting people. And I'm going to touch on it more later, but we also are respectful people. We grew up in a generation where when you had a phone, remember you had a phone that was attached to the wall? And I mean, we had a 30-foot cord that I can go down the hall and into my room, but ultimately we would get a phone call of somebody wanting to give us a sales pitch, and we would sit there and listen to the whole sales pitch. We would be kind and polite, and we wouldn't hang up. And then at the end, we'd be, thank you, not interested. Okay, we need to get rid of that, and you need to start hanging up. Hang up your phone. Don't be polite. Don't be kind. Hang up. And we're going to get into all the scams here in a minute. And the reality is you can avoid this by not listening, not responding to people. I just talked to somebody just this morning in the crowd that on their social media, I believe it was Facebook, somebody messaged them on a post that she did back in 2016 that was just like, hey, how are you? Just very kind and polite, and hello, pretty lady. And just they're trying to reach that person that's lonely, reach that person that they can start a conversation. And once those conversations begin, and some of these people invest 2 years in these romance scams, and they will get information from you. There's so many things about it. So Jesse, go and get into the numbers if you would.
So scams by the numbers. When I went out to do the research on this, I was kind of amazed. These are just numbers in 2022 because the feds are always behind in 2023. So these are just for the 22 stats. $10.3 billion was reported in losses. Thank gosh that's not happening here in Sun City West and Sun City. 2,175 average complaints received daily. And these are complaints that go to the FBI IC3 website. 65,800 plus average complaints per year over the last 5 years. Ages 50 to 59, 64,500 with a loss of $1.8 billion. 60 plus is $3.1 billion. And Arizona ranks 10th with losses estimated at $241,191.959.
So billion with a B, not with the million, but a B, billion.
B.
So I don't know how does he do billion? So I always say this, with age comes wisdom, okay? But the reality is there is cognitive decline as we get older. And I'm the first one to admit it. I am 50, and I know I look like I have cat-like reflexes, but I fell off the ladder that I took from my stepfather, who, because he's in his 80s, I took it from him because you're not going up ladders no more. So not this last Sunday before last, my physical decline. When I fell off the ladder, I did land on my feet, but that was caused a lot of injury. So here's the reality. We get older. There's issues that come on. We got onset of dementias. We've got a lot of mental concerns as we get older. And so that placates into the issue. They intentionally target the elderly, retirement, and we'll get more stats on that here shortly. So from January 1st to September 31st, just in our district alone, $2.7 million, with an M, million dollars in fraud that's occurred. And again, we caught that, Don Keener caught that in March and pointed it out to us. So we really took a snapshot of this, and we're going to discuss some of those cases later, but this is just in my district. But more importantly, when we talk about the victims, being a victim is embarrassing at times, depending on the crime, and obviously fraud. Nobody's proud of, entering my entire credit card number into the phone so that I can just give money away. Nobody's proud of that, okay? And, again, we're not calling anybody out, but people will not come forward out of embarrassment. So this is what we know about. I couldn't even tell you what we don't know about. Jesse, you got anything?
Nope.
So of the entire district, you look at these numbers, okay? So in Morristown, we had one fraud-related case, El Mirage, one. But, you can obviously see where the concern is. Where's their focus? Where are they intentionally going after victims in what areas? So clearly, Sun City West is their primary point of focus. And as you saw on the slide before, they really are looking for that age group over 60 because it's obviously effective with $3.1 billion across the nation. Jesse?
You're the stat guy.
What?
You're the stat guy.
Oh, am I? Okay. So we looked at the stats across the county. So District 1, so that's that D1 on the far left, that's our Mesa district, our patrol district. District 2 is south of us, south of Northern, all the way down into Gila Bend. And you look at their fraud-related crimes in District 2, then obviously District 3. We are leading the way because we have obviously a lot of retirement community and homes and victims here. District 4 is going to be the Cave Creek Carefree area out in New River. You see there, again, not a lot, but they're still occurring. And then District 7 is going to be Fountain Hills. So again, look at the stats and you tell me where the area of concern and where our focus needs to be, where our education needs to be. And again, that's why we're here. So thank you for being a part of this.
All right, the first scam I want to talk about today will be the pop-up scam. As you can see on the chart there, we have all of them on the left-hand side, some of the crimes have occurred and we've taken reports on. And this is just on the pop-up scams, 555,000 roughly amount we've lost in our community. And while I was doing, let me get this the clicker here. I got it. While I was doing my research, I ran across a gentleman, and one of the points that Captain wanted to make is that we need people to come up and tell people that they've been a victim of a scam, report it to us so we can take some action on it. I ran across this gentleman on the IC3 website. His name is Don Holmes, and he is actually a resident of Sun City West. So I've got a short video here of Don's story, and then I actually got Don standing over here to kind of elaborate on what the video says and what it doesn't say, because there's a lot that is not said on the back end of this.
I think I got to do it here, right?
Yep, sorry.
Please work, please work.
Technology is a wonderful thing.
And we're buffering now.
My name is Don Holmes. I live in Sun City West, Arizona. In this community, we're all seniors. After you move in here, even if you don't know anybody, you get to know other people you enjoy doing things with. I use a computer predominantly for email and to get the news. One day, a thing pops up and kind of blocks the screen and says, you've got all kinds of viruses in your computer. The design of the pop-up had a Microsoft logo on the top, and they had a number. And I couldn't get rid of this thing on the screen. Turned the computer off, turned it back on, still there. So I called the number. They identified themselves as Microsoft. I had no feeling that there was anything wrong.
Tech support scams are real, and they're causing enormous consumer injury, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and that's just based on the FTC's own law enforcement work. Just like Mr. Holmes, a lot of people are getting pop-ups on their screens, and often they claim to be associated with a company such as Microsoft or Apple, giving them lots of credibility.
They told me they would clear what they considered to be malware in there. In order to clear it up, they needed to get into my computer and have my control of the computer turned over to them. So I gave them my password. They went in, the thing came off of the screen. When I went back to my computer the next day, I couldn't access my files.
You'd never let a stranger into your house. Don't let one into your computer. If you get a pop-up, don't click on a link. If you get a phone call from someone who says your computer's security is at risk, don't listen to them. Stop, take the time to talk to a friend, talk to a family member.
When this happened to me, I was a little bit embarrassed. I mean, I consider myself fairly alert, but I was targeted and I was scammed. I didn't really want to talk about this, but I realized that if I didn't talk about it, that if I didn't file the complaint with the Attorney General, that if I didn't file a complaint with the FTC, that I would have shrunk into myself. And by talking about it, by talking to all my friends,
They're not amateurs, Don.
I began to realize that they also started talking, and they started indicating that they had experienced similar things. That kind of community, that kind of exposure, it's not an embarrassment, it's just something that happens when you're a senior. You have to talk about to other seniors. What I would suggest is contact the FTC. They have a website. You can fill out a complaint online. We can be empowered with your family, your friends, and other people within your community to try to put a stop, or at least protect ourselves from these kinds of scams.
Donna, would you come up, please? When I told Captain about this video, he told me, find this guy. So I did what I had to do to find him, and I was lucky enough to find him. We appreciate him being here to give his story as an example of, speak up and, say something and talk to your friends. So, Don, if you don't mind, thank you.
Well, Jesse lived in Sun City West. I live in Sun City West. He was able to use the internet to find exactly where I lived, and he showed up at my door. You can laugh, but people from outside of this country can basically do the same thing. They can do the same thing through the internet, through connections, through the phone and whatnot. So everyone out here is going to be a victim at some point in time. And there's very little that law enforcement can actually do about it. They can collect statistics and whatnot, because the problem is international. The problem is with the internet itself. It is the door to your life. And oftentimes you will get from Google, from other places where you may have email, that the dark web exists, and your IP address, your name, and any information that you may store on your computer or iPhone that you think is private is available on the dark web for people who are interested in getting into your bank account, into your pocket in one way or another. And they're enhanced with their ability because of organizations like, or companies like PayPal. So Part of the scam is, from the PayPal standpoint and from your credit card standpoint, is these people are offshore. We bring them over here on H-1B visas. We train them in our systems. They go wherever they go, and they work from home. And their home is somewhere other than here where the victims live. And it makes it very difficult for law enforcement, for the prosecutors and everything else to actually zero in and stop any of this stuff. They do their best. We need to support them. But the problem is with Congress. And the reason it's with Congress is Congress in 1996 passed some acts, as Congress does. And those acts protect the platforms that we all access, whether it be our computers or our cell phones. They're all protected in what they post. And so what happens is that people from outside can post any fraudulent thing on the computer, which they do, not in terms of just pop-ups, in terms of emails, in terms of all those things. And the companies that post those are exempt from liability. Thank you, Congress. There's been a lot of work, and a lot of people have tried to get some of these acts, Section 230 of the federal acts, modified. But remember, the people that have the platforms, the Googles, the Microsofts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, have a lot more money and a lot more voice in Congress than any of us do. And as a result of it, they still have that liability, which allows people all over the world to say, hey, the door is open in the United States. The door is open for us to come and get into your bank account one way or another. So all we can do is be totally vigilant. Like Jesse has said, if you see an email or a pop-up that you do not recognize on your computer, and if it says, don't turn off your computer, it's been infected, call this number. What you want to do is turn off your computer. Don't call those numbers. If you have an email that says, we're waiting for confirmation for a package to be delivered to you, do not click on it. If you get an email saying, hi, I'm Mary Jane, and we met at such and such a place, don't click on it unless you know exactly who that person is. The click opens your front door, the door in your house, and the door oftentimes to your bank account. Now, I mentioned PayPal. PayPal is an interesting operation. What happens is that foreign companies, foreign individuals anywhere, can get into PayPal as a pass-through. And so what PayPal does is they pass through the charge to your credit company, and your credit company has an agreement with PayPal, and so they pay that PayPal, and then PayPal forwards the proceeds or portions of the proceeds to whoever they are getting information from. The difficulty from your standpoint is that you can talk to your credit card company and they try to go back through the circumstance, but ultimately you're going to end up very likely with a charge. The credit card company that is best at advocating for your interest if you do get one of these fraudulent charges is Discover, because Discover actually has people in the United States that answer the phone and try to help you out.
Hey, Don. On your specific case, is this thing on? There it goes.
Yeah.
On your specific case, how much were you defrauded out of? Initially, what did you think, and then what was the ultimate end?
The ultimate, well, first of all, they took $99 to fix my computer, supposedly. But what they did is they actually infected it with more viruses. So the only way I could get rid of it is to crash the computer, trash it, throw it away. I was also advised by some people that know a lot more about computers than I do, that even if I tried to take off some of my documents that I had created on a thumb drive or an auxiliary drive, those files may be affected. So not only did I lose the cost of the computer and the $99, but I lost all kinds of data, documents and whatnot that I had created over a number of years. Because those, if I take that stick that I've pulled it off on and I stick it into my new computer, it again is infected. So it's kind of like we talk about a virus, and we were last couple of years we were infected with the COVID virus. Well, it never stops. That's the problem. So once a computer is infected, you are infected throughout
Forever.
the course of all your documents and whatever you do.
Okay, thank you, Don. I appreciate you coming up. I thank you for being brave. Obviously, you are a resident expert on all these things, and I'm sure you could probably stand up here and talk for hours. And I think you've covered probably half of our PowerPoint presentation. So definitely thank you. And thank you for, again, being brave and coming forward. And, you know, like I said, it's difficult as a victim to stand up in front of people and say, you know, I'm a statistic. And that goes for any type of crime. So thank you.
He said everything I wanted to say. Imagine that. So how does the scam start? It starts on a pop-up that comes up on your computer. You get a call from someone who says they're a computer technician. They say, hey, we've noticed that your computer is slowed down. We want to help you out with that. They call out of the blue. And you say, okay, I didn't really recognize that my computer was slow, but okay, we'll go with that. And there's a statistic out there that says there's 2 billion computers. And you were just lucky enough to be that one they were watching. Say it slowed down. Again, so the unknown pop-up shows up on your computer, it locks it up, tells you to call a number, and you do, and that's where the rabbit hole starts. The only way you get rid of it is to shut your computer off. And take it to a reputable dealer and have them clean that computer up for you. Okay? Huh?
Yeah, there's some.
Right, there are some softwares out there, but the best thing to do is make sure your software is up to date on your computer, which is a subscription or whatever, but just make sure you're up to date on your protection.
As a matter of fact, I just got a email that my Amazon account's been locked. It's completely bogus. So everyone gets these every day, all day long. So
I don't get as many as you do. Why is that?
I spend a lot of money on Amazon.
You never give control of your computer to anybody, because like Don said, that just opens up the possibilities of them accessing everything on your computer. Criminals can spoof phone numbers. We have the ability at the county to make a phone call, say back to Kansas City from my county phone, the 602. It'll automatically add the prefix 816. So you have no idea where that phone call is coming from. So it may be coming from overseas or from Arizona, Texas, Canada, whatever, but it will still show a local area code. You can't rely on your caller ID because, again, that caller ID pulls that information off the telephone that says where that call is originating from. don't click links or unsolicited links or pop-ups on your computer. I would imagine everybody in here has probably seen those links at one point in their lifetime with their computers. Don't open unsolicited emails. Someone's trying to sell you something, trying to sell you Windows, trying to sell you solar, that kind of stuff. Unless you're looking for something, you go out and you find those individuals to get that service that you need. Don't rely on the service to come looking for you, because that's a trouble just waiting to happen. Again,
I have blocked myself from my own cell phone. I got a phone call from Brian Stutzman, and I'm like, why am I calling? Did I dial my own number? And it was somebody calling in, a scammer, so I had to block it. I got literally like 3 or 4 phone numbers from this handsome man, Brian Stutzman, and I couldn't figure out why I'm calling myself. So literally, I am still blocked from my own number. Are we ready for the pop-up scan thing?
So again, we're trying to break this up with some
Welcome back to
videos.
CBS Mornings, where we want to tell you about an alleged scam related to cryptocurrency that, like so many scams, targets vulnerable people. Authorities say that kiosks owned by Bitcoin of America, one of the nation's largest cryptocurrency ATM companies, were used by scammers to steal millions of dollars from victims. The company, its CEO, and 2 others are now facing more than 50 counts, including conspiracy and money laundering. The suspects pled not guilty yesterday in Cleveland, where authorities first brought this case. Jerika Duncan has been following it all for months and spoke with a Connecticut man who says he lost $20,000 to a scam involving Bitcoin of America, one of its machines. Jerika, good morning.
Good morning to you, Tony. Now, crypto kiosks are popping up all over the country, mostly in gas stations or convenience stores. Now, due to loose regulations, police say they're becoming more popular with scammers who use them to steal money from people, and there's often no way of getting that money back. And you call this?
Self, you know?
In his 84 years of life, artist Joe Samuels never thought he'd fall victim to a scam.
Has anything like this ever happened to you before?
In my entire life, I would never. It was crazy. It put me in the hospital for a week. I've never been sick in a day in my life.
In October of 2021, Samuels thought he was calling his computer company's IT department. During the call, he granted someone access to fix his computer remotely, and it worked. But a couple of months later, he says he got a call from someone claiming to be from the same IT department. He says they told him that they accidentally deposited $20,000 into Samuels' checking account and demanded he send it back through a Bitcoin ATM.
And they're telling me, calling me, you got to pay us back, otherwise we're going to get the FBI.
Fearful of what could happen next, Samuels did as he...
Did you break it?
Oh, I think that was the end of it. Sorry, that was just the gist of what was going on, but yeah.
So the reason why we show that is because we found out that here recently, while we're doing our research, that the Bitcoin has been very active. People telling people go deposit money in a Bitcoin, because once you make that deposit, it is basically untraceable. You can't get it back. You don't know where it really went. So a lot of them will go to like the convenience stores, the smoke shops, and these individuals, the suspects, will tell our victims which store to go to. They know where you live. Sometimes they say there's a store right around the corner from you. It's 3.5 miles, whatever. So go there and make a deposit. Here's the QR code that you'll need to make that deposit. And unbeknownst to them, they're just giving their money away to these scammers. The first little case discussion I want to talk about was one I just here recently took regarding a pop-up. The guy had just got a brand new computer, just opened it up out of the box, doing an initial setup on it, and the first thing that pops up is that his computer's been locked up and to call the FBI. So he looks at the number on the phone, on the computer. He calls that number, gets in touch with a supposed FBI agent, and that FBI agent tells him that they've identified his computer as being involved in purchasing child pornography and some other things that I won't discuss here, but really put the scare into this individual. they got access, the hackers got access to his banking information, and he was told to, in order to save the cash that he had, to take that money and deposit it into a Bitcoin machine. Well, he wasn't real whippy about that, so he did not do that. But he did ask him to wire the money to them. So he did wire $80,000 to this individual. Once that deposit was made with that supposed agent, our victim started getting kind of the queasy feeling in your stomach, something just not right. If you get that, the hair stands up on the back of your neck, you get that queasy feeling, maybe it's not right. Well, that's what he got. So he started asking the agent, say, hey, can I get my money back? You know, I know it's supposed to be secured in this treasury note. Can I get my money back? He goes, well, yeah, we'll get your money back. We're going to send it out right now. And he took a picture of a treasury check. They made it out for $80,000 with his name on it, sent a picture of it. Once he got the picture, he says, now, the only stipulation with you getting that $80,000 back is if you send us $70,000 more, and then we'll give you a refund of the $150,000. Well, at that point, he knew he had been scammed, and that's where we got involved and took the report. But again, he lost $80,000 just on that scam itself.
One of the common denominators that we're also seeing too is once they get you a little bit, then they'll get you again, and then, okay, now you got to pay the taxes, or we need this. And a lot of times people are like, well, I'm already into it, let's say $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. Well, I'm hoping that I'll get my money back. Okay, I'll send another $5,000, and okay, just one more $5,000. They keep doing that, and fortunately, this guy didn't go down that rabbit hole and send another 70. So ultimately, that's what we're regularly seeing. And let me interrupt here real quick, Jesse. Anybody that, you know, obviously, Lance, if you or any of the banks or individuals that, if you guys have a story that you can also add to this, that's why we invited the vendors and stuff here. If you've got something that you can, you know, give to the conversation, please come on up. We've got we had microphones. Somebody stole them. We had microphones. We'll get you more, but there's never a cop when you need one. How they right under my nose? But bottom line, if you do, please come up and share the story or something. Okay, go ahead, Jesse.
The second one is a pop-up regarding from Geek Squad. This one actually had a better ending. One of our few that we get this way, but. They got a call out of the blue, said, hey, your computer's due for its update on software and malware. They said, go ahead and make that happen. In the course of that process, the scammer inadvertently, he got access to the victim's banking account and supposedly over-deposited or refunded money. $40,000. Instead of making it $400, they made it $40,000, and then all of a sudden the guy says, well, I need to get that money back. I need you to send me that money back, or I'll lose my job. And it's like, well, I don't know what to do, so I got to have my money back. So what our victim did is he went and got a cashier's check for $40,000, thinking that his account was overpaid by $40,000. Actually, I think it's $70,000. He took that check, took it and wrapped it up the way he was told to, took it to the UPS store, mailed that check. When we got called, luckily our deputy service aide was able to go out and take the report and find out that the check was still at the UPS store, hadn't been picked up by the truck yet. So the victim was able to get to the UPS store and pick up his check. So that one actually had a good ending. But the key is make sure that you talk to people, you let us know things are going on. There's still a little bit of time, as long as it's not like a day or two or three, something like that. There's always a possibility. Even if they're sent overnight, I've had it where I've tried to intercept it before it got out for delivery. It's just the sooner you let us know, that the better off it is.
So we keep trying to coin phrases, something that catches people's attention. You know, if those of you see my preview or my next presentation we're going to do after this one is the see something, say something right now, right? You've heard that. And I know a lot of campaigns are coming out, say something, that kind of stuff. So one of the things that we're looking at here is I need to get the word out. You guys need to get the word out is be suspicious of everyone and trust no one. That's something you be suspicious of everyone, trust no one. Trust me. Okay, you all failed that test. So bottom line, we have to start being suspicious and trusting absolutely no one. And the lucky winner scam, that seems to be one, even though it's only been 1.2% of the value lost in our district, it's still $32,000 worth of loss. And any amount is terrible. So go ahead.
Again, this starts out the same way everyone does. Hey, you've won $1 million. We all want to be rich, right? We all have financial goals, stuff like that. You've won the lottery. You may not have played it. You're lucky you've won the lottery, maybe even twice. You've won it twice. Not that he's done that. You got a free prize. You've won a new car. Or the big one is the monthly Publishers Clearinghouse. That thing's been around since forever.
Yeah, if the letter still says Ed McMahon, it's absolutely fraudulent.
Still says he'll come and deliver the check. So what I found is that the scam is always the same. We're going to bring the media out. We're going to have a big press conference. We're going to bring a big check. We're going to deliver a brand new Mercedes-Benz. It's always a Mercedes-Benz. And it's always the same car. So I hate to tell you this, but there's no balloons, there's no Ed McMahon anymore, there's no Mercedes being delivered. Basically, all they're doing is they're going to ask you for taxes to pay on the prize winnings, and that's a pretty commonality. Is that they say you need to pay the taxes, you need to pay the shipping, you need to pay our distributor, you need to pay for signatures. They find all kinds of ways to get you to pay until they've run out of your money, and then they go on with their next scam.
Especially if those that win like the Canadian lottery, that's common. I've never played. Like you would know if you've played. Like you're not going to win something.
Is there any Canadians in here? Is there a lottery in Canada? Okay.
I'm gonna start playing there.
So if you get a call for the Canadian lottery, don't pay the taxes on that. They always ask you for financial information. Hey, if you give us your financial information, we'll automatically deposit that check into your account. Okay. Again, that gives them opportunity to look into your account, steal your money, and go from there. Paying money increases your odds of winning. If it's a true lottery, if it's a true sweepstakes, you don't enter 5,000 times at $500 a piece. Go ahead. So this next case I'm going to talk about is a Publishers Clearinghouse case. The victim won and needed to pay her taxes. Luckily, she had a healthcare professional that was taking care of her. She'd gone over to take care of her friend. She saw her friend with some checks in her hand and said, "What are you doing with those checks?" She says, "Well, I need to mail them." I said, "Okay, so tell me a little bit more about that." She found out that her friend had been contacted by Publishers Clearinghouse, and she was the monthly winner of the Publishers Clearinghouse. She had already mailed $6,000 to an individual in Phoenix as part of those taxes. And one of the things that we find is these scammers don't want you to tell anybody. They also tell you, don't hang up the phone. I'm going to be with you the entire time. If anybody asks you, what this is for, tell them it's for remodeling the house, a kid's birthday, grandchildren's birthday. And in this instance, they'd actually told her to put on the memo of the check for a funeral. Okay, so her friend asked her, "So how much had you sent these individuals?" And she had only sent the $6,000 so far, but she had 6 more checks made out for $7,225 each check, and was supposed to be mailed to the same person here in Phoenix. Luckily, her friend stepped and said, this is a scam. Immediately called us. We took the report. So as of right now, she's only, I say only, $6,000 is a lot of money. I don't have that kind of cash to throw away. Certainly don't have another $37,000 to throw away. So luckily, her friend stepped in and helped her out. But again, that wouldn't have happened if she hadn't said anything, if she hadn't noticed the checks in her possession.
one of the other things we hear too is, I know who the suspect is. They told me to mail it to this individual at this address. Here, go get him. Go now. And then from talking with Sergeant Hunsinger with our frauds, a lot of times they're a victim. That name, they're using a victim's name of another fraud. So just because you think it's suspect information, it may not be a suspect. More than likely, it's another victim of another fraud that they're using their account or something to that effect too. So remember that, because I know several of these discussions, people come up and go, we know who did it. And it's like, no, we probably don't. So.
Did we ever catch him?
So we did have the one case where we recovered the check before it's gone, but the other frustration is a lot of these, and Lance, I'm going to give you the microphone too, whether you like it or not. One of the things that we're seeing is the fact that once they pull the money, they'll go to the banks, the credit unions, they'll pull the money out, and then they'll put it in an ATM. Unless we do like an asset forfeiture process to get that money back, the banks aren't going to reimburse that because they pulled it out. It's not like they used my credit card and stole, my credit card to make purchases. I call the credit card or the bank on my debit card and say, hey, this was, they got my card fraudulently. Matter of fact, Don Keener, where'd you go? You're hiding from me. He literally found some fraudulent activity on his credit card where they pulled out $1 just literally yesterday, pulled out another $1. Added $1, deposited $1, and then pulled out $1.50. Because he's checking his account regularly, he was able to call the bank, they closed it. So on those situations, yes, the bank becomes the victim ultimately. But if they're going and pulling money out, wiring it, they're doing that on their own accord. They're not getting their money back.
And I think about 6 months ago, Chandler police worked a case where 2 individuals were arrested. They had used an Uber driver to pick up money from an individual and deliver it to, I think it was a car dealership. And they were able to identify these 2 individuals and made an arrest on that. So it does happen. It does happen.
Okay, so like they said earlier, my name's Lance Hunziker. I'm the sergeant. I oversee the financial crimes unit. And I can tell you, 15 years ago when I was first a detective, you give me a name and an IP address and a phone number, I'll go find your bad guy. Everything has changed. Everything has changed. When we are having scams, the scams they're out of country, they're overseas, definitely out of state, and we're immediately turning them over to the FBI. The things that we're getting, and that's why prevention is so important. It's why it's so important that you pass along to everyone and you understand, because I can tell you as the person who reads every single financial crime case that comes through the county, I read every single one of them, and I assign them to detectives if we're going to work them, forward them to the FBI. I can tell you if the simple fact of people understanding that if someone's calling you to get money from you, it's a scam. It's always a scam. It doesn't matter if they say they're the cops. It doesn't matter if they say they're the bank, if they're trying to get you to buy gift cards, wire transfers, cryptocurrency. It's never, under any circumstances, legitimate. The things that we're assigning and we're working and we're actually getting convictions on and arrests are, we just arrested someone, Monday, for someone taking someone's identity and getting dental work, things like that. Caretakers scam, and that's not so much a scam, that's more of a theft where caretakers are using credit cards or different things like that. Those are the things we're getting convictions on and arrests. These scams, I can tell you right now, we have, I'll let you know, we have vary from 2 to 4 detectives right now in the financial crimes unit. We have 500-ish open cases with all known suspects. So when we get one with an unknown suspect, we go to the FBI. So that's what's happening, and that's why when you do call the deputies and they come out and it's a scam, whether it's any of these types of scam, cryptocurrency, bank card, or gift cards, anything like that, we have you go to ic3.gov. And that way it goes to the FBI. It's like Don said, he's absolutely right. You get it to the FBI, they have that database where it lines up the similarities, the same number, the same suspect, the different things that are common between the different cases, and they align them and they're the ones that will go overseas or out of state to make those. But at a local level, the scams we're giving straight to the FBI.
I just made, you can leave that down there. I just made a really good contact. Joan made a really good contact. Joan, who's sitting down there now, she's going to come back up in a minute. See, I called her out. Joan introduced me to a Secret Service analysis from the Secret Service office, and she was hoping to make this venue, but we'll work with her in the future. But they're actually working a lot of fraud cases too. I think they're working one at over $150,000. But again, kind of what Sergeant Hunsinger just said, we are still arresting people in state. Everyone thinks, oh, it's overseas, it's some Saudi prince or whatever, going on. But the reality is with VPNs, virtual personal networks, is that what it's called, VPNs? They're bouncing signals off to where, again, he can't look at IP addresses, but there are still a lot of people here in our country, in the state, even in your communities, that's defrauding you, but we can't find it because of the technology that they're using, which is why the FBI and also the Secret Service, who we're working with, they're finding success. I just hope they're finding more than they should. So, oh, sorry, you're waiting on me. Okay, yeah. You gotta come up here and sit in your chair.
Let's go up there, because I'm going to plug him.
Welcome back.
I know. Thanks. I do have good news, though. I always like to let you know that there are a lot more prosecutions than you would believe. I get from the U.S. Department of Justice on their email, their press releases every day, and they talk about the cases they've prosecuted. You would be dazzled if you knew how many people have been charged and convicted of these crimes. So the point is, please make a report, like the detective said, with either IC3 or ftc.gov, because when they collect all these cases, they just convicted some guys from the fake winnings, the lottery. And so just so you know, they are really successful, and if you make a report and they recover the money, you might get some money back. It might take a couple of years, but there's a lot more success than you'd know. Do you get those press releases? It's awesome, because it makes you feel good to know how much our government's doing to protect us. There you go. Thanks.
You ready for the next one?
Yep.
Oh, no, I think I was on the first one. We got to switch there.
So we're going to talk about the Amazon scam. We kind of touched about it earlier. With COVID, that blew up Amazon's business. So they were the benefactor of the COVID. But unfortunately, that also opened up the door for the scammers to exploit that. You get a call saying, hey, we've noticed some unusual activity on your Amazon account. Please call a number. You call that number, you find out, you talk to them, and you give them all your personal information. But that number that's listed on their website, that's on that pop-up or that email or that text message, is not actually the true Amazon. They tell you you're entitled to a refund. They tell you that there's been an iPhone purchased in your name and we're having problems shipping it. To confirm your address, please punch in these numbers. Again, they're just asking you to open up that door to your computer to make that delivery. Make all purchases using your credit cards. Credit cards, they insure those purchases. If you're concerned about fraud and service such as Amazon, log in daily to your Amazon.com address. Never call the number listed on email. Never give them remote access. And a common way is through the net viewer, which is would be an icon on your computer.
So there was a case that I kind of went through some of the other ones. I know we're covering a lot in our case discussions, but there was one in Sun City. It was just an online scam where a gentleman in Sun City met a female on Skype, an app, and then she convinced him to move over to the WhatsApp. Have you ever heard of WhatsApp? It's basically non-traceable. We can't do search warrants on it. There's no information. It's just completely, it is what it is. And we talked earlier about cryptocurrency. She convinced him to invest $150,000 into cryptocurrency, and he deposited $150,000, and it was gone. So, government impersonation. This is obviously our big one, and you're going to continue seeing this because I don't know if you could see the success they're having, but it's working. Everybody is afraid when somebody calls them. I've got just, I believe, 3 cases here where the Inspector General is calling. Obviously, you got somebody with DOJ is calling. $114,000 on that one was frauded. On one with the Inspector General, they said you're going to send us money or you're going to be arrested for money laundering, and $428,000 was transferred on that one. So this is obviously clearly successful. Just in our district alone, in the 9 months, $824,000. So.
And one of those cases we'll talk about a little later, but these are the 4 areas that pop up most with us. The IRS calls, again, we're getting ready to run into that hard time of the year where the IRS wants their money. They don't want to give you money back, but they want their money. Social Security calls, they're canceling your Social Security card, whatever, that's something that we see. Medicare calls, and our law enforcement calls, like from Maricopa County Sheriff's Office or from Peoria Police or wherever you go from. While most of the scams happen by phone, it's also important to know that the IRS will never email you, text you, or send you a direct message on social media with threats or demands that you pay. The IRS will not call you about your taxes unexpectedly. If you owe taxes, the IRS will contact you by mail. The IRS now has private debt collectors, which I didn't know about until I started doing this research, who might call you, but only after you've gotten 2 letters in the mail about your debt, one from the IRS, one followed from the debt collector.
And even if you're unsure if they're legit, there's ways to deposit money to pay the IRS. It's not through any of the, cards, Bitcoin machine. You can mail your check to the IRS. You can talk to your tax accountant. There's a way of doing it. You can pay your taxes quarterly in advance. Just mail your check to them in one location. It gets deposited. That way, then if the scam or the letters you received is fraudulent, the IRS will give you that money back. Not with interest, of course, but you'll get it back.
If they ask you to pay with gift cards, don't make $10,000 worth of gift cards and send them to them or call them back. No legitimate business will ever ask you to pay for any service using gift cards. Gift cards are for gifts for your family, friends, and whomever. The private debt collector working on behalf of the IRS will never ask you to pay over the phone, again, with debit, credit, business, that stuff. The IRS has guidelines on private debt collection. The IRS and the debt collectors won't demand that you wire money, pay with a gift card, pay with cryptocurrency, or send cash. Neither the IRS nor the debt collectors will threaten to arrest you. They cannot revoke your license or immigration status. Social Security scam. You get a call, email, text message, or a direct message on your social media saying it's from the Social Security Administration and that your Social Security benefits will end or your Social Security numbers will be suspended unless you pay immediately. The real Social Security Administration won't threaten you or suspend your Social Security number. The real Social Security Administration won't call, email, send text messages, or send direct messages on social media asking for payment. No one from any government agency will ever demand that you wire money, pay with gift cards, pay with cryptocurrency, or send cash. The call, email, text messages, or direct message is a scam.
Okay, is everyone starting to see a consistent theme here? Okay, so we still have a lot of slides to go through. We're going to kind of speed it up along because I think you all get the point, especially on that last paragraph there, the how you're paying. There's a right way to pay, and then there's a million wrong ways to pay, and you just need to recognize how and only how you have to pay if it's legit. So obviously the Social Security scammers were pretty much clear on that. Medicare is again another one. If you're going to get calls, and if everyone just followed 2 rules, be suspicious of everyone and trust no one. That's one rule. And the second one, which Sergeant Hunsinger said, don't give anybody money. Like, you will probably be okay. Don't give them your information. So if you look at all these scams, Medicare, I'll let you talk about the law enforcement one. That seems to be pretty popular.
Yep. So you get a call from the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. The caller identifies him as Captain Stutzman. He tells you he's received some paperwork on his desk and they need to discuss this. Failure to do so will result in your arrest. So all of a sudden, they're throwing that big A word out there, arrest, and everyone starts panicking. He tells you a warrant has been issued for your arrest and you can take care of it over the phone. He directs you to, you don't do that, do you?
Just once.
He directs you to get gift cards, wire transfer cash, all those different things we talked about earlier, deposit to resolve the problem. Once he receives the money, he tells you to turn yourself into the closest sheriff's office. Now, this has actually happened. We've actually had people show up at our district saying, I just paid on my warrant. They told me I needed to turn myself in. And we're looking at him like, I don't understand what's going on here.
But here's one of the biggest issues is they're using legitimate names. My name officially hasn't been used that I'm aware of, but there have actually been legitimate employees with the Sheriff's Office, and all you have to do is Google Sheriff's Office employees, read a article that the Independent Jennifer Jimenez put out on somebody, and then you could see that they're currently employed. You can even call our dispatch at 876-1000, 602 number, and say, hey, does Captain Brian Stutzman work for the Sheriff's Office? And they'll be like, yeah, he does. So then now, oh, it's serious, it's legit. Well, they just got my name from an article. So the reality is if they're saying you have a warrant and they're demanding payment on any method, again, there's a right way to pay, and then there's 1,000 stupid wrong ways to pay, such as gift cards. If no one would ever do that. But here's the reality. If you have a warrant for your arrest, I have this really cool delivery service. I will put a deputy in a car and they will come and see you. Like I won't charge you for it. Like we'll come right out and we'll pick you up. But here's the reality too, is if this is what they're threatening you, come to the Sheriff's Office and say, hey, I'm receiving this information that I've got a warrant. Can you help us? Before you do anything, we'll be glad to tell you if you have a warrant. But if you do, sorry.
I actually got a call from a captain on Super Bowl Sunday. Said, hey, I got some information I need to talk to you about. Give me a call. Okay, Super Bowl Sunday, nobody's working, especially captains. So I tried to call, no answer. So finally, I mean, 3 days later, I was able to reach out and talk to him. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. But again, they'd gotten my name, didn't know I actually worked for the county sheriff's office. And so I didn't have to pay any money, so it's good.
He was sweating bullets. So.
I was. I asked him, I said, what's he want to talk to me about? What'd I do?
Real quick, I just wanted to drive home something that Captain Stutzman touched on that may have got overlooked. Just because we have people, they're getting these calls. It's not making any sense because, right, like if I'm the police and I want to arrest you, you're the last person I'm going to inform. I don't want you to run. So what they will do, and they're doing this, like say you get a call from someone who says they're me. Hey, this is Sergeant Hunsaker. What, you don't think I work for the sheriff's office? 602-876-1011. Call them right now. Call them right now. See if I work there. And they're people, you know what, I'm going to. Hang up. They call the sheriff's office. Hey, does Sergeant Hunsaker work there? Yeah, he actually does. He oversees the financial crimes unit. Uh-oh. Click. Calls back, scammer. Yeah, I checked you out. You're legit. That story's happening again and again and again. So just make sure when you talk to, if you do call the sheriff's office, tell them what's going on. I'm being called by this guy. He's telling me to go buy a bunch of gift cards. I'm getting called by this guy. He tells me to go and put money in a cryptocurrency to pay for missing jury duty. Just tell them what's happening. Just be very upfront about it. So that's all. I just wanted to drive home that point.
Thanks, Lance. So on these case studies, we're just going to, like I said, burn through them. So on one, again, it's the Inspector General calling, and they believe it, they fall for it. They transfer money via transfer funds or wire, and they lost $42,000. So, and title fraud, that's a new one coming.
So this is a new one, and We haven't seen many reports come through our desk on this yet, but we anticipate it will. But the county assessor's office?
County recorder.
Oh, county recorder's office has actually started a new program to help identify and combat this issue. What it is basically is home title fraud is where a criminal steals a home by forging a deed. They then illegally transfer ownership of the home without the real homeowner's permission. It is essentially where a fraudster steals your home and either sells it or takes out a loan against it without you even knowing it. You find out if you go to sell the house or you start getting foreclosure notices to your house, or to your residence, and we're going to be foreclosing your house. Is like, what's going on?
And a lot of time you won't even get those, but there's on this first easel there's information on that, and there's even a website you can go to register on as well. So, and usually those types of frauds are going to be houses that are paid off free and clear, and so you won't even receive information. This will be going on under your nose. But the good news is they're looking at new legislation to try and shore that up and fix that, and hopefully it passes here real soon. Didn't you say it's on the governor's?
Leslie? Does Leslie want to?
Do you want to say something,
Come on up, Leslie. Come on up, please, please, please. You don't have to come up on the stage. I'll let you talk down. You can come behind the Christmas tree. No one will see you. Oh, thanks, Greg.
Gosh, it's great to see everybody out here. Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. Okay. Leslie Hoffman, I'm the Director of Recording Services at Maricopa County, and this is a program that we launched the end of June. You can go on, it's very similar to the title lock that you've seen advertised on TV. Only difference is there's no charge. The county was able to put this program together so that you can go on, sign up. The only responsibility that you have is keep your email current. You put just your name in, not your property, just your name. Because even if you don't own property, documents can get recorded that will affect you, your property, your life. So it's all by name, and the county recorder's office only indexes by name. So you'll get a notice within approximately 48 hours after a document gets recorded if there's a document recorded with a name that is the same or similar. And there's a link. All you have to do when you see that email is go to the link, open it up, and go, oh, that's not my property. No, that has nothing to do with me, not my address. And then it's over. But if you do see something that was recorded that is your property, does affect you, you can immediately call, if you're in the county, call the sheriff's office. If you're in Sun City, call their PD. Wherever you're at, you call that local police department and or the attorney general. And I also recommend you get an attorney right away, because the sooner you get it caught, the sooner it's fixed. And as of January of 2025, all the counties in Arizona will be required to have this system. Right now, there's only 4. But this one here, we've got 49,000, Cosmeans back here, I think it's a little over 49,000 people signed up, and we're just getting ready to hit 100,000 names monitored, because you can put your name, your husband, your wife, your children, your aunt, your uncles, anybody. It's unlimited, even if you have a business. You can put your business in there, and the reason that we do name only as many businesses don't own the property they operate out of. Okay, and that was the next one. That's good. Yes, a lot of people own property under trust. So what we recommend is there's a place to put in your individual name, so put in your name, whoever the trustees are, and then where it says business name, put the full name of your trust. That way, if a document is recorded that is missing either the trustees' names or something is different in the trust name, it's still going to be caught, and you will get a notice right away.
And we have some flyers over here on our desk that talks about that, so you can take that home. It has the email address at the bottom, so you can sign up for that.
Yes, yes. Please come over.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
I tell you what, we're going to keep trucking. She's going to be over there at the end. You can, she'll give you all the instruction you need, and we'll do question and answers here at the end, but we're going to try and keep going, okay?
The home title fraud combines 2 common scams, identity theft and mortgage fraud. After fraudsters find a property they want to steal, they next steal someone's identity. It's something easy to do. You can find anybody's information out there on the internet. They use the stolen identity to create a fake social security number, fake IDs, other counterfeit documents. They forge signatures, go in, and wham, bam, it's done. Now that it's in somebody else's name.
Okay, grandparent scams. Again, we recently had over 17,000 involved in that.
Any grandparents in here? Great-grandparents?
Just a couple.
Great-grandparents? So this is.
Hang on, we're gonna let Joan take this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's gonna run with it.
And I'm using yours. Yeah, taking it away from them. Raise your hand if you've heard of the grandparent scam. All right, everybody in the room. So let's talk about how it's transitioned a little bit. The grandparent scam, for anyone that doesn't know, is where you get a call, a grandkid's in jail in Mexico or got an accident, and you need to send money right away. And then what's bad about it is if they first call and they'll say, I'm in jail, Grandma, send me money, and you send it, then they'll say, well, Grandma, I need money to get home, and Grandma, I need money for an attorney. So it can keep going. But the twist is the fake kidnapping. And I've met victims of this. The first victim I met was in Glendale. Her and her husband got a call, and a guy said, stay on the phone, I've got your daughter. He knew all of her personal information from social media. He says, we're gonna kill her, we're driving around in a van, and if you don't pay us, wire us money right away, we're gonna kill your daughter. And the girl's screaming. Now with AI technology, being able to copy your daughter's voice, it's even more scary. But they went to the Fry's grocery store to wire the money, and there was a long line. And while they're waiting, and the guy's on the phone, you better hurry up, they saw someone they knew. They used their phone to call their daughter, who was at work. So they got lucky. But it's very scary. I think we have a video on it. But do know that I don't know what you're seeing or what you guys are seeing. I think that the grandparent scam has been around, and we're wise. Look at all the hands that went up. But the fake kidnapping might start to pick up. We just had a case here in the Valley. Is this the video?
And if you don't have the money, both you and your daughter are dead.
Yeah.
Warning of close encounters with scammers who used artificial intelligence to clone her daughter's voice.
Yeah, this is crazy. They actually made her believe they had kidnapped her 15-year-old, and then they demanded a ransom. So as On Your Side Susan Campbell found out, this is crazy. It doesn't take much of a voice sample to pull this scam off. This is so frightening to hear.
It really is. This truly terrified this mom, and this technology is actually improving so quickly. You really only need seconds of a voice sample to get pretty close to someone's real voice.
The phone number was unfamiliar. Jennifer DeStefano almost let it go to voicemail. But her 15-year-old was out of town skiing. Maybe there had been an accident.
I pick up the phone and I hear my daughter's voice, and it says, Mom, and she's sobbing. And I said, what happened? And she's like, Mom, I messed up. And she's sobbing and crying. And then I hear a man's voice say, put your head back, lie down. And then I'm like, wait, what's going on? And this man gets on the phone and he's like, listen here, I've got your daughter. This is how it's gonna go down. You call the police, you call anybody. I'm gonna pop her stomach so full of drugs, I'm gonna have my way with her and I'll drop her off in Mexico. And at that moment, I just start shaking. I'm like, what? In the background, she's going, help me, Mom, please, help me, and bawling.
And you have absolutely no doubt in your mind that that was her voice.
Oh, 100% her voice, 100% her voice. It was never a question of, who is this, or it was completely her voice. It was her inflection. It was the way she would have cried. I never doubted for 1 second it was her. That's the freaky part that really got me to my core.
But the 15-year-old never said any of it. It was just a clone created by artificial intelligence.
You can no longer trust your ears.
Subaro Kamampati is a computer science professor at Arizona State who specializes in AI. He says voice cloning technology is rapidly improving.
Now there are ways in which you can do this with just 3 seconds of your voice. So with the 3 seconds, it can come extremely close to how exactly you sound.
And you don't even need any special equipment.
I chose a free program for a test, and I'm not actually talking.
It's a new toy, and I think there could be great good uses, but certainly there can be pretty worrisome uses too.
You got to slow down and diffuse the situation.
The FBI's Dan Mayo says scammers who use voice cloning often find their prey on social media.
They're going to be looking for public profiles that have as much information as possible on you. And when they get a hold of that, they're going to dig into you.
The Federal Trade Commission says scammers will often ask their victims to wire money, send cryptocurrency, or pay the ransom with gift cards. Once the money is gone, it's almost impossible to get it back.
If the phone number's coming from an area code that you're not familiar with, that should be one red flag. Second red flag, international number. Sometimes they will call from those as well. Third red flag, they will not allow you to get off the phone and talk to your significant other, right? That's a problem.
The person who had supposedly kidnapped Jennifer's daughter demanded money. He started at $1 million.
I was like, that I don't have $1 million. I'm like, fine, whatever, just want my daughter. Then he wants $50,000.
Jennifer kept him talking. She was at her other daughter's dance studio, surrounded by worried moms who wanted to help. One called 911, another called Jennifer's husband. Within just 4 minutes, they confirmed her daughter was safe.
She was upstairs in her room going, what? What's going on?
What's going through your mind that second?
Then I get angry, obviously, with these guys because this is not something you play around with.
Wave of relief, though, I'm sure.
I literally just sat down and just broke down crying.
Tears for all of the what-ifs, the fear, the relief. It all just seemed so real.
The FBI believes a lot of these calls are never reported. Even if you don't lose money, the FBI wants to know about it. The more information they have, the better their chances of spotting trends and catching these scammers. And guys, you saw my example that I used there. That was a free program that only required a little bit of a voice sample from me. I read a few sentences. I had a couple different news clips, and that was it. They generated that in minutes. So imagine how good it could have been if these are scammers who are using real programs.
So that readback that we heard from you, you did not do that. That was that AI. Yeah. And you just Googled that, and it's that easy?
It's that easy. There are so many options, and I just chose one of them.
There's lots of options?
Tons.
Unbelievable.
That is just all for free, too. That's even
a lot of them are, and then you can upgrade, you can pay.
So as you can see, anybody can do this. And I know I'm not computer savvy, and I'm sure most of us in this room are not real computer savvy, but it doesn't take much. So one of the things that comes to mind is, do you have passwords or a passcode or a safe word or something that you guys need to know? You need to meet with your kids because you may not get on social media that much, but your kids or your grandkids may post videos that, again, they can take that voice sample, create a phone call, and immediately you're caught up in an emotional, distressful situation, and you're not going to be thinking clearly. You're going to do what it takes. But if you all have a password where you could say, I need to know, what's the password type thing. I had my kids growing up. I had 3 lovely kids, and they knew what the password was, and every time I tested on it, they could never remember. And it was frustrating because it was their own middle name. So anyway. So you guys need to practice that, but seriously, with AI and technology the way it is, it's coming and you're going to get caught up in it. So if you're at least prepared, it will help us all.
It's a story that you'll only see on 12 News. A retired Valley woman watched her bank accounts get cleaned out by a scammer in real time. Team 12's Chase Golightly sat down with her tonight to share her story with others.
Joyce Corrales has lived in Phoenix her entire life. It was in this room where she was scammed out of thousands.
All within an hour, and I was broke.
Last week, she received a call from her stepdaughter asking for $60. There was also another person on the line, someone claiming to work for Cash App.
And all of a sudden, he says, well, we got to run some tests.
Asking Joyce to send $60 multiple times to her stepdaughter.
I said, well, let's try that again.
The money started to pile up.
I said, I'm not doing this again. Then he hung up on us.
Minutes later, Joyce receives a call from another person claiming to be with Cash App, telling her,
that guy was a scam, ma'am. We're going to get your money back. I really want my money back, so I'm doing whatever they're asking me to do.
Asking her to download an app called Quick Support. It allows someone to take control over your smartphone.
The app gave me a code that he wanted. I gave him the code.
That was all it took. The scammer went on to her Chime banking app, and started transferring money.
I am watching it happen in front of me. He was moving around in my account to the point to where I literally could not stop him.
It then hits her.
Now I start crying. He's like consoling me. He's like, ma'am, please don't cry. We're not doing anything.
A bold-faced lie. She watched as the scammer transferred the money to this email address.
When I saw Hotmail, I knew I was done.
Taking all of her Social Security money for the month, then hung up the phone.
It's gone. I have nothing.
That $60 ended up costing her more than $2,000.
I was just hurt. I was just heartbroken.
Now she wants others who use these apps to know the potential dangers that come with them.
The red flags were going up, but in the back of my mind, I still wanted to believe that I was talking to Cash App.
Now, just before our newscast, Joyce reached out to me saying that Chime did give her a full refund credit for the amount that was taken. Chime is also looking into the situation. We're in Phoenix tonight. Chase, go.
I did love her Popeye shirt, though. That was awesome.
So on this case, we'll talk about, we actually found out who this individual was. So the family member got a call from their son, said they needed money. Then they put him in touch with a supposed lawyer. The lawyer said they needed $9,500 to post bond, gave him instructions on how to package the money, all in $100 bills, folded up in a particular way, put into a manila envelope, very specific way. Once he got the money, he called the suspect called back, talked to our victim. They said there's going to be a black Tahoe show up at your house. Take that money out to the Tahoe, give that money to the driver, and then they will deliver to us. We got called after the fact, but what we did find out was that when the vehicle came through the gates of the community, they were able to pick up a license plate. That license plate led them to a person in Glendale. And the owner of the vehicle said her daughter was out with the car as an Uber driver, and she was picking up some Uber drivers or some Uber patrons, and so come to find out she didn't know anything about this money. But again, someone showed up at your house asking, taking money. So it does happen. So if a car shows up at your house wanting money, don't give them money. Call us first.
Yeah, please call us first. So let us figure it out. Pet scams, we're just going to go through that. Have you any of you heard of a pet scam? Okay, I mean, this one, again, it blows my mind. And the case study that we've attached to this is absolutely, it's disheartening. It's crazy because, look, I'm an animal lover, but I'm maybe going to dump about $300 into that little cute thing, and that's about it. Then it's we're going to have to start talking about some other options. But the reality is they're getting phone calls. They're getting, these high-dollar puppies with a lot of, obviously, informations, photos that's being sent to them. They're, high-dollar breeders. They're expensive. And bottom line, we had a individual who got scammed $53,000. $53,000.
And the dog was supposed to be free, and they said $900 to $1,000 for shipping.
Oh.
And that changed to veterinarian's fee, quarantine fees, insurance, shipping, boarding, nanny fees, microchip customs, and they just kept going and going and going. And they threatened her that if they didn't pay the money, that they'd report her for animal cruelty.
And again, we talk about you just keep adding another chain on that link of bad decisions because you're already in it, $25,000. Then let me just maybe keep going and hopefully it comes to an end and I get that puppy. But the next thing you know, this wasn't just one check for $53,000. And remember, these are scammers, and they call them scammers because they're good. So please, let's not fall for them. Romance scams. How many of you know anybody involved in a romance scam? Okay, they are absolutely terrible. You were in one? Oh, me. Oh, 3 times? Yeah, we're back to that. Thanks for salt in the wound. Yeah. Okay, so my 4th scammer right now, she's doing an amazing job, but the other ones took most of the money. So again, the amount of money lost, and this actually over the years has been in essence a lot more than a lot of the other scams, but 1.3 billion, and it just keeps going up. The value, people are lonely, and I'm a Pisces, so I'm a hopeless romantic, married off the market, sorry ladies, but bottom line is we are legitimately, there are a lot of people that are lonely. They want love in their life, and we have encountered cases where they have been in a relationship online for over 2 years, never met the individual, and in one case they actually wanted to file a missing persons report because they hadn't talked to him in 7 days and they had never met him. And then they called us to cancel the report because, oh, he finally got in touch with me 2 days ago or something to that effect. So again, they legitimately believe they're in a relationship even when the family is telling their mother or their grandmother or whoever, like, this is not real. This is not real, but in their mind, it's real. So these are dangerous. They're a slippery slope. They will keep giving money away, and they just keep throwing it out the window at these scammers, and they will never meet them. Do you have any personal stories that you can discuss about that?
I have lots of
Not you personally, but personal knowledge of.
I've only got one scammer before me.
Okay, just one.
Just one.
All right, he's smarter than me. I told you I wasn't the smartest man in the room.
So the commonality of this is people say they work on oil rigs, they work far away, they ask for money to be sent. They profess their love to the individual here in Sun City West really quickly. As soon as 5 or 6 days, they want to get married. They want to send them money. And one lady lost her house because she believed it so much. When I took the report, she was actually living with a friend. She had sent all her money to this individual, and it was,
that was the personal experience I was talking about, the one that you knew right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
She worked on an oil rig.
So listen, I know that we can laugh at some aspects of this, but this is terrible. I mean, and again, we can sit right in front of the person and explain to them what's going on. In fact, one of the cases, the family's trying to get power of attorney because their family members throwing money out the window at this individual, but whenever we bring in economic security folks, we bring in adult protective services, their hands are tied. It really comes down to the family to do the work necessary. Law enforcement's not the end-all, be-all answer for everything. We'll investigate, but ultimately it takes personal involvement from the family members as well to keep an eye on.
And I actually had one where she lost almost $1 million. I took the report, convinced her it was a scam. Took the report. Next day she called me and says, "Hey, can we put that on hold? Because he said he's going to send me the money tomorrow." I said, "No, we're not going to put it on hold because we just had a conversation about this being a scam."
And just real quick, he's talking about, they won't listen to their family. They won't listen to us. We're literally there saying, we are the police. This is a scam. This is not, and they got the picture of the 4-star general hanging on their kitchen. It's so sad because they really believe, and we're just like, this isn't real. And they're like, well, and so just to know that's what we're trying to, that's what we're up against. Just want to.
The 4-star general shows up on a lot.
Oh, I heard an interesting story once. A family did just. This is such a kid looking for toys. The family did just what you said. They got involved. He's such a brat. And were taking care of their mom. And they had changed her phone number. They made sure that the bad guy didn't have access. Well, the criminal ordered a pizza delivery and asked the pizza delivery company to give, when they went to the woman's house, his phone number so that she could call him from her new number. So, yeah, and then another story was where they actually called the police department saying, "Can you go visit this woman? I couldn't get hold of her. I've got a phone number." So they were using the police to be the messenger. So even when families are diligent, bad guy, that's how smart they are. I thought that was really creative. So anyway, here you go.
Thank you.
Oh, it's here.
Oh, no, Jackie, you're getting the microphone. Hang on one sec.
The microphone
Nope, too late. Nope, too late.
No, microphone. It's being recorded. Please, don't make me big.
I just got the microphone now.
So we have a member that comes in, and she has done everything from taking a loan out on her car, and she is just adamant that this is her boyfriend, and we try to stop her, putting notes on her account, putting alerts on her account, and she will go to another location, because we know her, so we're like, you know, Judy, this is not real. This is, you know, you're getting scammed. And she's adamant that this is my boyfriend and he's a rock star and his jet needs fuel and I need to send him this $6,000. And she's every couple of weeks she's in and they're just so adamant, like you were saying, that it's real, that the professionals can't even, has no deterrent on her whatsoever.
Thank you for that. And actually, that brings to mind one of the things that we are looking at doing here in District 3. And as you saw the stats, District 3 of all the districts is the highest with fraud type of activity. So we're trying to create like a Your Friend in the Sheriff's Office program with the banks. That's why we've got a couple of the branch managers here from a number of banks now. And I'm so grateful that they're here, because the common story that I'm hearing from all of them is people being scammed or on the phone standing at the window saying they need money. And the reality is for them to call the sheriff's office, dispatch, to have a call dispatched to us, and then they can't release any information. And she used the name Judy, but that wasn't the lady's real name. She changed the name to protect the innocent. But bottom line is they can't give us information. So what they have to do, or what we're looking at, is having a Deputy Jonathan Sanchez in that brown felt hat back there. He's going to get a lot of these the numbers from the banks are going to be given to them so that they can call him specifically and say, hey, I can't give any details, but I have a victim here that's being scammed and they want, let's say, $5,000. We're going to delay giving them the cash until you get here. How soon? And if he can, he'll go. If not, he'll call a deputy, so that we're not necessarily going through all of the procedures that they can't release information. So hopefully for the branch managers, please reach out to me. Let's get this program started so that you can at least try and get a deputy there to make a difference, confront the individual, introduce ourselves, and see how we can get ahead of this in that manner too. Is there any questions on that for the branch managers? Does that sound cool? You guys on board with it?
Hey, Brian,
okay.
Can you have the bank people stand up, because we're almost to the end of the program. So if you had a question about a bank, see who they are so everybody can see them.
Okay, so we've got Global Credit Union, we've got Chase Bank in the back with their cover, Wells Fargo is in the back, and then we've got the AmTrust. The ladies back there. So thank you. If you guys got any questions for them, and thank you for speaking up. She threatened that she was going to leave if I had to ask her to talk.
So why us? You guys grew up, I say you guys, we grew up in a time we could trust people. You knew who your neighbors were. You knew where your kids were. I didn't have to worry about what they were doing, who they were with. And the next one is, I mean no disrespect when I say this, but lots of seniors are not computer savvy. I have problems with my computer. This one this morning, I usually just give it to my wife, say fix this thing, or I call her help desk. Sometimes we're too proud to ask for help or to admit you don't know something until it's too late. Seniors tend to have more expendable income, such as investments, retirements, and financial securities. Do not open up unsolicited emails. We've talked about it a dozen times. Resist the pressures from the callers, because that's one of the things they do. They want you to override your sense of thought, act in the urgency, and then once that urgency is gone, you can think with a clearer head. Do not pay anybody with gift cards. Look into a business prior to paying them, if you can. Check your banking accounts regularly. Do not call the numbers listed on any emails, or addresses, or pop-ups. You can report the crimes to us. We also encourage everyone to report the crimes to the FTC as well as the FBI, the IC3. If you're ever a victim of a crime, we will have that information for you, so you can make those phone calls as well, and contact your banking institution.
Please do. Microphone, Greg. Thank you. Up front. Jackie again.
So I know a lot of you probably don't like to do online banking, but
Come up on the stage.
shoot. Sorry, I'm caught. You don't like to do online banking, but it's very important that you do for two reasons. When they send statements by mail, you know, they can get into your mailbox. Your statements have all of your balances, your full account information, your full account number, and all of that. And by the time you're scammed and you get your statement a month later, it's already too late. So if you have online banking, you can check your account daily to make sure you don't have withdrawals coming out or unrecognized deposits going in. Like you were saying, they deposit money and like, oh, I need the money back. So I know it's scary, but I highly recommend it.
Thank you. And can we throw the PowerPoint back up? So again, we talk about all these things. We threw a lot at you. But again, remember, there's been a common denominator, and it's paying the money, wiring the money, gift cards. I had a question that was sent to me. Have you seen an increase in gift card scams? Believe it or not, I think we're starting to see that taper down a little bit, only because of the fact that you can go into Walgreens, you can go into a lot of the places, and they're even having warning signs above the gift cards that saying, you know, look, if you're purchasing this for a payment or something, then you're probably being scammed. There was a news story that we didn't have on this presentation where an individual was in there going to pay out $3,000 in gift cards. I think it was a CVS employee was like, stop, hang up. No, they wouldn't let her do it. And then obviously the news got involved. We got involved. And of course it was obviously a fraud. And then they did a story based. What's that?
Oh, just to say, tell them how they're telling them to go through self-checkout now.
Oh, okay, wow. Yeah, so they're actually telling the scammers to say, don't go to an employee. They're involved in it. They're in on it. So go to the self-checkout. So again, man, it's so frustration. And again, I think if everybody looks at the PowerPoint presentation, be suspicious of everyone and trust no one. My mom, my biological mother, not my stepmom who was here early, she left. She snuck out and didn't even say goodbye. Can you believe that? I'll get her. Anyways, so Mom, if you're still here, I was a joke. Mom? No, okay. So bottom line is my mom, my biological mom, before she passed, I called her one time when the gift cards was through the roof, and I'm like, Mom, don't ever do gift cards. Don't, whatever you do, if somebody asks for gift cards, don't do it. And she's like, oh, okay, no, I won't. And I waited like 3 weeks, and I call her, I go, Mom, I need gift cards. Go to CVS, get $3,000 in gift cards. I got everything. And again, you know, AI was still kind of coming out, and she's like, oh, okay, all right, well, where do I need to go? What do I? And I'm just like, okay, Mom, no, you fell for it. Like, don't be so gullible on this kind of stuff. So, but the reality is AI is convincing. That lady just said she knew it was her daughter's voice. She's in immediate panic. Like, AI is going to be out there. I don't know if you've seen Terminator, but you might want to think about that. AI is real, and it's coming to life right in front of us. So, listen, I think we're done. Oh. Wallet thefts. How many of you seen the news articles on wallet thefts in the grocery stores or when people are shopping? I am telling you, I regularly, when I'm in the grocery stores, I will see, and it's primarily ladies with the wallets sitting in the car seat area, and they'll turn their back and they're in the meat market looking for the steak. People will come right by, grab their wallet, and while they're shopping, their bank cards being used to purchase gift cards, to purchase whatever. So, and they don't even know it till they get up there and go to use their wallet. So keep your purse on you, keep it zipped, keep it close, or I hate to say leave anything in your car, because for those that want to stick around, we've got a safety crime prevention discussion. If anybody's interested, we're still going to go over that, and we talk a little bit more about that, what not to leave in your car, securing your stuff. But the reality is there is fraud going on all around us, and these people don't have jobs, so they have nothing but time on their hands to come up with new ideas, new ways of defrauding you. So please, if you've got your purses, keep them on you, around, strapped to the front of you, and don't turn your eye for a second. And I'm not in uniform when I'm shopping typically, but I'll be like, ma'am, I need you to, keep an eye on your purse. Don't turn your back. And they think I'm crazy or weird, but whatever. I'll deal with that, just by walking away. But ultimately, please get the word out. So thank you all for listening. We're going to open up for question and answer. We're actually going to take an intermission so that everyone. We're done. Okay.
You're over.
I'm done. I can still stay. Just meet me in the parking lot. We'll go. Just kidding. All right. Okay. Do you want to do question and answer? Can we?
Well, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for being so patient.
Stephanie, where are you at?
These are here. What?
Is she gone? Okay. All right, if you guys have questions, come up and see me, or you can go to any one of the deputies in uniform and ask questions. Come on up, man.
Okay.
I'm so sorry, but that's okay.
And right now, we're open.